The evildoers responsible for my husband's assassination have no idea what they have done. They killed Charlie because he preached a message of patriotism, faith, and of God's merciful love. They should all know this. If you thought that my husband's mission was powerful before, you have no idea. You have no idea what you just have unleashed across this entire country. You have no idea the fire that you have ignited within this wife. The cries of this widow will echo around the world like a battle cry. To everyone listening tonight across America, the movement my husband built will not die. God bless you all, and may God bless America.
Hello and welcome to the show. This is Matt Christiansen Live, a proud duct tape production for Sunday, September 14th, 2025. Thank you for tuning in. Sitting shotgun tonight is our friend, Matt Palumbo, highly regarded author. Welcome back.
Saddle up, partner.
Of course, it was a terrible week of news, which we're going to discuss extensively momentarily, but there is some good news to report. My sources say the highly regarded Matt Palumbo, maybe even more highly regarded, he was married on Friday.
Very, very good sources on that one.
Congratulations, butthead.
Congratulations. Welcome to married life.
Now, it was quite literally the only good thing that happened last week, I think.
On a personal note, was it strange to get married in such a crazy time? Did that overshadow your wedding in any way?
You know, I had that worry in the morning. In fact, I mean, the whole week, all I could really had in my head was that poor Ukrainian woman getting murdered. And not only that, just the fact of knowing that it had happened weeks prior and there was an attempt to cover it up. And it was some random anonymous guy on Twitter who made it a national story. And I don't know, it really just did something to my mood, just seeing not only that, but then also the non-reaction from everyone around her. And then, so that I don't know, it just really got to me. And it's that morning, I'm still thinking of that. And then I get the notification that Charlie Kirk is shot. I am in just denial over it. I thought, okay, he got shot in the arm, he got shot in the leg. Like, there's just no way this could possibly happen. And once you see the video, it's the worst. I mean, listen, I've been on Live Leak before. This is way worse. It's someone we know. It's something of national significance. It's someone whose life actually mattered. And, it was the only thing on both of our minds, my wife and I. And, once the wedding started, it was really the only time we weren't thinking of it. So I guess, it didn't overshadow, fortunately. But no, it's, besides that, it's really the only thing that has been on our minds since.
Well, God bless you and your wife. Congratulations. My sources also say baby on the way. So congratulations on that, too. I know we discussed that prior. No guest tonight. I am keeping it easy while I also have a baby on the way imminently. In fact, my other very credible sources say my wife might go into labor tonight. So we're going to try to get through the stream. But if I have to leave on very short notice, that would be why. But for now, the show goes on, and I'll get back into guests as soon as this baby is here. And I don't want to have to cancel on people, so I'm going to keep the stream as simplified as possible until we get past this particular mark. I am feeling a little bit sick tonight, as you can probably also hear in my voice. Apology for compromised vocal quality. But, of course, the biggest story in the country is exactly what you were discussing, Matt. It is the continued updates in the shocking Charlie Kirk assassination Wednesday. Now, the audience of this show discussed the whole event in reaction at length Wednesday night. We've learned a lot since then. Of course, Erika Kirk, Charlie's wife, gave what was just a gut-wrenching speech from Charlie's studio on Friday night. The shooter has been identified and arrested, turned in by his dad. And despite the insistence by many, in fact, the insistence continues in some circles, the insistence that this was some right-wing on right-wing violence, turns out the shooter is apparently gay and has a transgender boyfriend. And even that might not be relevant, actually, we're supposed to believe. But sources familiar with him saying he's deeply indoctrinated in left-wing politics. Plus, there are a lot of oddities and mysteries remaining in the case that we'll examine. So we'll go through that later in the show. There was a school shooting outside of Denver on Wednesday as well. Investigators say that 16-year-old shooter was radicalized by online white supremacists. Plus, we have hoax hate, including what I had planned to talk about on Wednesday, course, there was more significant news. Did you see the Greta Thunberg hoax droning, Matt?
Was that she claimed like a boat associated with her drone strike, but it was like a flare gone wrong?
There are several pieces to this hoax,
okay.
and that's one of them.
I feel like it's already 10 news cycles ago. I know it was last week, but
she tried again. The first hoax was not very convincing given the available footage, so apparently there was a second one. And now the Greta flotilla has departed the Tunisian coast. Is that how you say it? I don't know. Yeah. You're an expert on those like Mediterranean countries.
Yeah,
right?
Totally. When I was in Albania last month, she did a rally right next to where our hotel was, so we went to it. It was some like Free Palestine rally, but it was like 150 people tops that showed up, but then in the media they made it sound like it was this huge thing. But yeah, very odd situation, circumstances.
Before we get into it, got to say hello to our featured listener-owned businesses for the evening. That's Hope Innovations tonight. Have you ever wanted to grow your own garden, but you didn't feel like you had the space? With food prices rising and chemicals being added to your food every day, you might consider adding a hydroponic garden system to your home. Grow clean and fresh produce all year round with the Eden Tower from Hope Innovations. When it comes to growing your own food, invest in the best system out there and discover the joy of regularly having freshly harvested salads, homegrown herbs, tomatoes, peppers, and more with your very own hydroponic system, engineered to be elegant and practical. The Eden Tower stands above the competition with its patented cup system that allows you to drop a seed and go. You do not need a green thumb to grow delicious and nutritious food at home easily. You can get $200 off an Eden Tower hydroponics kit from our friends at Hope Innovations through a listener-exclusive link available only on my website. Head on over to mattchristiansenmedia.com/deals, find the Hope Innovations section, click that link, $200 off an Eden Tower hydroponics kit. You can get started growing your own food easily and simply today. And of course, don't forget our friends at Hero Soap Company as well. Get great smelling, all natural soap, body wash, shampoo, conditioner, and more made in the USA by our friends at Hero Soap Company. 10% off using promo code MCListener. They, of course, have soaps in my signature scents too. Timberline, the frosty, cool experience where the forest meets the peaks, or Old West. It's leathery and oaky, ready to bust open the saloon doors. 10% off everything. HeroSoapCompany.com. Promo code MCListener. Of course, find all the information at mattchristiansenmedia.com/deals. Deals by listeners for listeners. Now, I have a couple of brief things to discuss before we get into the main news. A lot of people rightfully looking for God right now. I, of course, am too. My Friday night Bible study is back underway. It's led by Reverend David Rogers. We're currently working our way through Ephesians. It is free and open for public participation by Zoom. And you can listen back to every session in the study we've been doing for years now through podcast feeds. So if you're interested in the Bible study, I know a lot of people are given current circumstances, not my Bible study necessarily. I just mean the search. If that's you and you're looking for something to jump into, check out the Bible study page on my website. It's linked right there on the homepage, mattchristiansenmedia.com. Matt, when I came back on Sunday, I also had responded to the public statement from Lauren Chen about Tenet Media,
yes.
and mentioned that neither her nor her husband Liam, both of whom were running the company, had spoken with me despite my request to speak, which I found to be a little odd. Now, to update the story, just so everybody has complete information, this week Lauren Chen did respond to me. Now, this is private correspondence, so I'm not going to discuss the content of the messages, but I just want everybody aware that she did, in fact, contact me. I will say that from my perspective, all of the questions that I presented on the stream last Sunday remain. I have no further information to answer any of them, but if I receive more information intended for the public, I will certainly share it. All right.
I'm so curious now about that prior correspondence.
Well, did you hear what I had to say last Sunday?
Well, no, so that adds a whole other layer to it.
Okay.
What's the theory? I mean, do you think she probably just took money knowing it was probably suspect, but not 100%? Or would you, I mean, maybe we should get into it.
I mean, I'm gonna punt on this a little bit.
Everything's alleged.
Yeah, well, I genuinely believe they were deceived. To what degree,
Okay.
I don't know. But I had assumed that when they were ready to talk publicly, they'd be ready to talk to me. Now that they are not, I have to question everything. And that's the position that I'm in right now. So do I believe what the DOJ said? No, I do not. I think the evidence is lacking. Would I happily entertain, probably believe their side of the story if they would give it to me? Yeah. But now that words are suitable for the public, but not for me as someone directly involved, I have questions. I have concerns about that. Yeah. But without saying more than I should, I'm just going to leave it there. We should get into the big news, obviously, as well, rather than, personal feuds or something like that. I wouldn't even call it a feud. It's just odd. I have questions. That's all. I have questions. And it's not really personal. It's contractual, and it's a matter of public interest. Anyway, Charlie Kirk's funeral, now scheduled for 1 week from today. Sunday, September 21st at State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona. That is the home stadium of the Arizona Cardinals NFL team. So as you'd expect, this is going to be a massive event. It is open to the public. It will begin at 11 a.m. Mountain Time. Trump says he's going to be there as well. J.D. Vance, Marco Rubio, also planning to attend. Now, I know you saw the video of what happened, Matt. Did you see the address from Erika Kirk, Charlie's wife, from his studio on Friday night?
Yeah, I was just really impressed with her. He found an amazing woman, and I'm just happy she didn't do this whole "we need to come together" unity horseshit. We need to go scorched earth. I think she wants all of these people involved to die, all the people that have been mocking his death, and I'm there with her. I'm not saying I would do it, but we should have no sympathy for these people. We learned in the past week or past couple of days that the left may have invented cancel culture, but it turns out we're actually way better at it. There's
remarkable proficiency, I gotta say.
There is a database right now of over 50,000 people with names, employers, their messages, etc. And if they all get fired, I'm not joking, it will show up in the next jobs report. There is going to be a Charlie Kirk unemployment spike just from this. And the thing I love the most is when you look at who is getting fired, you can just tell by looking at them. It's the kind of employee that every employer wanted to fire in the first place. They just needed cause. And the second they got calls, they're like, oh, thank God. All right, let's fucking get rid of them now.
I had an emailer presented me this theory. I think it's kind of compelling. I want to talk about the ethics of the cancel culture stuff on the other side of Erika's commentary here. But the theory being that there was this whole class of essentially worthless workers just scraping, they wanted people that... All these employers wanted reasons to fire these people. Here comes the Charlie Kirk thing, and that provides cause. And so you're seeing this sweeping wave of firings that should have happened a long time ago, but are now happening because of this. I could believe it, certainly. And obviously what happened is awful and should never happen again. And the people who committed this should be brought to justice. But if there is a silver lining of a more efficient American workforce, maybe that's for the best. Now, that has some ethical questions, of course, about cancel culture and trying to get people fired and all that. Let's let Erika make the point that you were saying, that she doesn't have a lot of eagerness for unity or sympathy for the people she believes to be involved in this.
The evildoers responsible for my husband's assassination have no idea what they have done. They killed Charlie because he preached a message of patriotism, faith, and of God's merciful love. If you thought that my husband's mission was powerful before, you have no idea. You have no idea what you just have unleashed across this entire country. You have no idea the fire that you have ignited within this wife. The cries of this widow will echo around the world like a battle cry. To everyone listening tonight across America, the movement my husband built will not die. It won't. I refuse to let that happen. It will not die. No one will ever forget my husband's name, and I will make sure of it. So,
Turning Point obviously going to continue. I have another clip in which she explains that a little bit more, but you have the question of, okay, one of the big pieces of pushback against Erika Kirk here was she's saying the people, they, plural. who are they? I thought it was just one shooter. Now, as we'll get to in a moment, there are not just potentially plural people involved, but their pronouns might be they, them, and there may be several of them. So plural, even direct involvement seems to be potentially perfectly appropriate. In fact, there are investigations to that effect right now. But on the idea of people indirectly responsible, or it's not even people who, if a guy gets murdered in cold blood on stage in front of thousands of people, and it's not a tweet from last week of you calling him a Nazi where you'd say, doesn't that kind of implicitly justify violence if he's a Nazi? This is just you raising your hand to say, I like it when people are murdered if I don't personally like them.
Yep.
I don't like, what has been cancel culture for the last few years, coming from the left for having opinions about X, Y, or Z, and they don't approve of the opinion, so they lobby your employer to get fired. However, if there is some sort of enforcement mechanism here, and of course I am not in favor of any form of government censorship. I don't even want a censorship culture where people are going after each other for word crimes. But the holding of these people accountable in the employment place strikes me as the most fair mechanism of accountability. That is to say, it still respects freedom of association, and it operates through a free speech mechanism of its own. Like, hey, do you know the guy working for you likes it when his enemies get murdered in cold blood? They're not even his enemies, just people he doesn't like. And so in the ideal, I don't want this war of trying to get people fired. However, if you can't help but raise your hand and say, I like murdering people I don't like, is that actually like is that an unfair or even immoral method of accountability? I'm not so sure that it is. I think it's actually pretty fair given the circumstances.
Well, they're the ones who basically patented that phrase that it's not cancel culture, it's consequence culture.
Yeah.
And
well,
they would say that to refer to like a guy who said that a man is a man, or, to cancel someone who was like 9 miles away from the Capitol on January 6th. Like that's who they were using it to cancel. It was nothing of this level. And it's not even just the raising your hand and saying, I'm happy with murder. It's feeling like emboldened to do so. Like I saw this tweet the other day that was saying, when someone who's right wing tweets something insane, it's from an anonymous burner account from a VPN. When a liberal wishes death, it's like, from Joe Smith, who lives at 123 Glendale Ave, here's my phone number and my LinkedIn. Like they feel
he probably
emboldened.
Gets promoted, actually.
Yeah, but they feel emboldened to do it, and they have been for so long because there has been no consequences. And listen, I would prefer a world where this wasn't the case, but we've always heard this argument on the right of, well, if we use the government to do X, well, then when the left takes power, they're going to use it against us. Well, the left should have been asking that very question with cancel culture of, well, what happens when the right takes power? Well, this is what happens. You started it, and it turns out we probably canceled more people in the past 2 or 3 days than they have canceled in 10 years. So,
or it's the theory they were on the edge of getting fired, and this was just the convenient reason.
We hit them right over the edge.
But I take your point. I'm glad that you made it. There are moral concepts that need social enforcement, not government enforcement necessarily. But there are certain ideas that, if expressed, should receive social scorn. And I think maybe number one on the list is, I like it when people I don't like are murdered, killed in cold blood. If we can't agree that maybe that should be frowned upon, maybe like if a friend of mine, for the same thing on Wednesday night when we're talking about this with callers, if you have a friend or a family member who's doing this cheerleading bit, they are in effect saying, I would do the same over your dead body. I just don't have the balls to try to kill you or the means. Yeah. But if you were murdered, I'd like it. Should that person be in your life? Should that person be in your close circle? And frankly, from an employment perspective, I don't think it's an unreasonable question to ask either. Like, should this person be working in your place of business, openly cheering murder?
And the thing is, the percentage of the population that is to the right of Charlie Kirk is tens of millions of people.
Yes.
So yeah, they like, that's the thing. They would absolutely want me to die. And there was one guy who got canceled where his defense was that despite this horrible post he made celebrating his death, he didn't actually know who Charlie was until after he died and then read about him. And
of course, that's how it always is. These people who are insisting he's this monster. My favorite line is like, "I'll give him the same respect in death that he gave to others in his life." Well, have you watched a single video? It's pretty damn respectful, I would say. But getting back to,
sorry, go ahead.
I want to get a final thought, and then I'll get back into Erika's speech.
I was going to say, like, for me to publicly take glee in someone's death, the degree of certainty I would need to have that they were truly evil and that this is not in any way controversial would have to be, Hitlerian, Stalin-esque level standards. Like, it's just so weird that they would feel confident on a lark to just go, "Oh, this guy I've never heard of before."
Well, they have no misunderstanding either. It's not as though they think he killed someone himself or he committed some serious crime. They think that his views subjectively dehumanize others. Like, you must hold these opinions. You must like these people. You must agree with their delusions or you're They fully grant these are word crimes or thought crimes that he has committed. Well, if we live in a word crime society, I guess we'll do a little word crime enforcement, and here we are. But
one last thought, sorry. Yeah. The irony of all of it is that all of these people that are cheering on his assassination are against the death penalty for like rape and murder.
Of course.
And then they'll say he's homophobic, but it's like, but like, so is every Palestinian. That doesn't justify them getting killed.
This was the most confusing thing to watch. We'll get into the shooter's life and motives in a minute, but it's so because they insisted over the weekend that this is a right-wing guy. So it's right-wing on right-wing violence, and that's hilarious because it's bad guy against bad guy. And you're bad, and it's funny that another bad guy killed you, but I like it and think it's good, even though everyone involved is bad for doing and liking those things. Anyway, looking for more clarity in places where it can't be found, obviously. Anyway, Erika also, she mentioned that the Turning Point mission is going to continue. She made some specific reference. She said, the campus tour stops, those are going to continue. America Fest, which is an annual event in Phoenix, that's going to happen later this year. Even Charlie's podcast is going to continue, she says.
Our campus tour this fall will continue. There will be even more tours in the years to come. America Fest here in Phoenix this December will go on. It will be greater than ever. The radio and podcast show that he was so proud of will go on. And in a world filled with chaos, doubt, and uncertainty, my husband's voice will remain, and it will ring out louder and more clearly than ever.
Okay, not a lot of details on what exactly that means just yet, but clearly Turning Point is not an organization that is just going to fold. And I was reading over the weekend that there's tens of thousands of new membership signups, chapter requests to start a new chapter, all that sort of stuff. Sorry, producer Tim reminded me I didn't hop into the Discord room, so I'm just going to get in there. So
I guess to take up the time. I read that there was 8,000 chapters just last week. I've seen over 30,000 plus new ones have been requested, and even if they all had one person each, like the percent increase is still massive. So it's huge.
Erika also implored us all to join a church in recognition that we are in fact engaged in spiritual warfare.
But most important of all, if you aren't a member of a church, I beg you to join one, a Bible-believing church. Our battle is not simply a political one. Above all, it is spiritual. It is spiritual. The spiritual warfare is palpable. Charlie loved his Savior with all of his heart, and he wanted every one of you to know him too. He wanted everyone to know that if they confess the Lord Jesus Christ who rose from the dead, then they will be saved.
Said that she even has to clarify a Bible-believing church because that seems redundant, but of course it's not. Many supposed churches are outright Bible rejecting, but I think that's the point that she's making. She spoke for about 15 minutes. It's all obviously very emotionally difficult to listen to, so I can only imagine how difficult it was to deliver. And like you said, Matt, the composure, the poise, the courage, really damn impressive. Very well done. The toughest moment is at the end, though. It's Erika describing how she handled it.
Don't make me listen to it again.
It's how she handled it with her 3-year-old daughter. Here's the moment.
When I got home last night, Gigi, our daughter, just ran into my arms. And I talked to her and she said, Mommy, I missed you. I said, I miss you too, baby. She goes, where's Daddy? What do you tell a 3-year-old? She's 3. I said, baby, Daddy loves you so much. Don't you worry. He's on a work trip with Jesus, so he can afford your blueberry budget.
Can't even imagine, obviously, losing a husband or another close family member in this way, but having to explain it to a toddler. And of course, if you've ever dealt with toddlers, you know they don't fully understand these things. They might understand snippets, small pieces. And by the time this young girl is going to be able to understand what happened, she may have little to no memory of her father. So just absolutely gut-wrenching stuff. And
you see the liberals' response to this? They were criticizing how,
yeah,
every liberal's a fucking expert in how you're supposed to address the nation after your
husband
gets murdered.
They criticize the toddler point specifically?
No, here's the thing. They all saw that, and they still were assholes about it. There was some liberal influencer who tweeted out, her response was, Erika Kirk, you're weird as hell, and then criticized her for posting a picture of the casket. Like, I feel like I'm becoming a fascist this week. The more I read this shit, I'm barely kidding here. Like, I don't know. I feel like I need to take a break from the internet, but I can't because of my job. I'm going to go insane.
You're going to get canceled.
Anyway,
cancel culture fired. We're going to join them.
Myself.
No, well, but you share obviously what many do, and that's what we were getting through on Wednesday, and that's the great challenge in the face of an event like this. It is recognizing this evil, it is processing this evil, and finding ways to aim that anger in the righteous, godly direction so that you do not become the evil. You do not become the demon. And boy, is that challenging. These people sure would like you to do a lot of terrible things to them, apparently.
How you don't. I don't want to live with these people. Like, that's the most exhausting part about seeing all the reactions is it's everyone in someone's town. There's dozens of people who think that way. And I don't want to see them ever. I don't want to interact with them. Well, I don't want to know them. I don't want to see their dumb opinions. I'm just checked out.
I've done a little unfriending this week.
I've done a lot.
Yeah.
I've done a little doxing. I'm not going to lie.
Okay.
I've done a little doxing.
All right.
I'm not going to say who, but a few people.
That when they're ripping her for not calling, I mean, this post here, 150,000 likes. And I'm starting to wonder, it's like 150,000. That's like that's the biggest city in the state that I live in. But over that, okay? There is no city in the state of Montana that's that many people. Yeah. And are these bots? Are they real people? Oh, she's as hateful as her husband. Why? She didn't call for unity. She blamed generic people. Yeah. Okay. Like Joe Biden, Captain Unity, when he would call for it all the time, unity for its own sake is of no value. If I unify with murderers, in this case, murder celebrators, or thieves, or pedophiles, or whatever form of degenerate you could think of, why would I unify with them if they don't agree on basic moral truth? Likewise here, what's the unifying principle? If you just showed me a random guy and said, are you friends or enemies with him? I'd say, I don't know. What has he done? What kind of guy is he? I wouldn't just be unified with him for the sake of unity. You have to know what the unifying principle is. And obviously, I'm not going to take the unity calls from the people who are otherwise clapping and wanting us all dead. We want you dead, but you have to unify with us. How? On what?
Well, I don't know. I had this idea growing up when I was naive that, politics was both sides had a common goal and we just had different ways of getting to it.
I remember the days.
Yeah. And listen, that only works when that actually is true, that you have shared values and a common goal. And we don't. We can't even agree on if the country is inherently good. I mean, the left has created a narrative of American history that follows almost it's a new religion. It's Christopher Columbus and slavery. Well, that's original sin. And in the 60s, we had some sort of attempted atonement process, but now through white privilege and acknowledging that, it's this whole new process of the new sacrament. That's confession rather. It's just it's all crap. I don't know.
And for the empathy crowd, the unity and empathy crowd. Okay, let's say that Erika Kirk was a little overbroad or a little overgeneralized in her words. She wasn't. Okay, there's no unifying with people who want you dead, regardless, when they cheer when you die. But for the empathy champions, I don't know. How about like a wife whose husband was just murdered publicly, savagely, brutally in front of thousands of people? Couldn't we have like a little bit of grace for that sort of person? Like if anybody's justified in being a little angry, maybe a little harsh with their words, which she wasn't. Widow whose husband was just taken? Why does she not get any grace?
I did see one. This was the greatest response I saw for some shit lib, and it somehow had a lot of interaction. She said, "Don't forget, Hitler had a wife and kids too." He's a real family man, Hitler. Jesus Christ.
Well, okay. Again, we're going with the Hitler compare. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Now we'll move into the shooter and what's going on with him. And the question I will pose to you is the gay war here? The Lori Lightfoot call for the gay war back in 2022, I believe it was right before the Supreme Court issued the Dobbs decision, post-leak, pre-decision. She was talking about, the right wing's attack on the rights of LGBTQ Americans. So she issued a call to arms on X. And thus the concept of the gay war was born, at least in my mind. Like, is the gay war coming for us? You don't want the gay war, but will the gay war come for you? Has the gay war now arrived? That is the question, given the facts that are developing currently. Will World War III will be some sort of bizarre homosexual-inspired zombie apocalypse where there are no clear boundaries. It's just insane warfare in the street by people who want you to they want to force you to approve of their bizarre sexual deviance or whatever else. Tyler Robinson has been ID'd as the shooter. Of course, you've likely seen by now. On Friday, investigators identified him. He's 22 years old. He was living in St. George, Utah. His family lives there. This is southern Utah. He was not a student at Utah Valley University. He did go to a semester at Utah State, but appears to have gone to this event, not because he went to the school, but for he was a ways away and went there for the purpose of this assassination, of course. And he was brought into custody because his father turned him in. The FBI, of course, released surveillance images of the suspect last week, and his father, Matt Robinson, confronted him about it. Apparently, Tyler threatened to kill himself rather than turn himself in, but his dad convinced his son to talk to a youth pastor, and the youth pastor is also connected to the local sheriff's department and the U.S. Marshals, which is how Robinson was detained. And by the way, what an insane experience for a father. Now, by all accounts, Tyler Robinson appears to have had a sane home life. Christian, Mormon, conservative parents, still together as far as I understand. They have 2 other sons, appear to be a solid family, or at least, prior to this incident. But to be in that father's position where you realize that your son has been captured by the ideology so insanely to the degree that he murdered someone in public, as we just saw. And then 2, you have the responsibility of turning him in, knowing you are putting him away for life at best, possibly to death. Utah does have it. They will seek the death penalty. I think it might even be by firing squad based on what I've read. So just a gut-wrenching position for that father. Now, if your son is in this situation, something has gone awry. So I'm not trying to present the father as a hero. I don't know all the circumstances, but I can say that if you're in position to realize that your son is a cold-blooded murderer in this way, and you make that decision to bring him to justice, it has to be a hell of an experience, and that's what that father went through.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we were just saying with employers, like, a lot of them kind of wanted to fire certain employees anyway, and this was the excuse. And I feel like if my son was dating a tranny and I found out they were a murderer, I would be like, all right, thank God, we can get you the fuck out of here.
What are the odds, though, that Dad learned about that situation also through this?
Good point. It does blow up my theory.
I mean, he could have had the most unbelievable double whammy a father could possibly experience.
Yeah. I wonder what you thought was worse.
Well,
I shouldn't joke. Obviously, the Charlie is actually horrible. But no, it is. I don't know. But it's exactly what everyone was kind of expecting anyway. Like there was no situation in which it wasn't going to end like this.
To the degree there are questions about how what looks like a pretty normal looking kid with what looks like a pretty normal looking family gets radicalized. I've seen many accounts on X, again, like there's a lot of cope trying to tell me that this guy's a right-wing radical and it's all right on right violence. But I've seen the question posed on X by people who think they're dunking or making a point. Well, what's more likely to radicalize a young man like this? One semester at college and maybe a little bit of trans houseplay, or 18 years living with Christian conservatives? As though that's hard to answer. They think that the obvious answer is a Christian conservative upbringing drives a person to this, even though living the way that Tyler Robinson was apparently living is absolutely an indicator of insanity and or makes you insane if you subject yourself to it. But did you see what happened on the Discord server?
No.
They're like joking around on the Discord server because the dad, turned his son in, but this trans roommate boyfriend is also part of it. The FBI releases images of the suspect, and he has this Discord server, the suspect does, with a bunch of his friends. And his friends on Discord tag him asking where he is because they're looking at these photos that have been just released. Hey, where's Tyler? And Tyler replies saying, oh, my doppelganger, he's at it again, trying to get me in trouble. So he's kind of joking about this on Discord. And one friend jokes that Tyler killed Charlie, but it turns out that he actually did. Jeez. And all weekend long, there was this war on X that I saw, this information war trying to pin Tyler Robinson's politics on the other guy. First, there was the ammo inscriptions that we learned about on Friday. They said, hey, fascist, some apparent transgender references. Then left-wingers and some journalists tried to say that Tyler Robinson is actually a Nick Fuentes fan, as in a Groyper. He didn't like Charlie Kirk because Charlie Kirk wasn't right-wing enough, per the Groyper War a few years ago. Based on literally no evidence that I've seen other than they made some weak video game connections on some of his ammo inscriptions. And then they said, Tyler, they dug up an old photo of Tyler Robinson doing a Slav squat, which I guess is a Groyper meme and a Groyper thing because
I don't think it's a Groyper thing. I don't think they created it.
There were once Pepes made in Slav squat posture and attire. So clearly he loves Nick Fuentes, and that was his motive. And again, the attempt to make him right wing was very confusing because these are the same people in many cases celebrating the murder. They're then celebrating it even more because they thought it was funny because it was supposedly right on right violence. So the reasoning became, you guys did this to yourselves because you're bad. But I like that it happened. So I think that it's good, even though it's bad. But I'm not bad for liking it. I'm trying to explain it to myself, but I can't. I could not wrap my mind around how they were still gleeful about this, even though everyone else was bad for participating in it.
I guess their best case was a murder-suicide then. You're right. It's just incoherent for what they were. They don't believe it, though. I know the left is retarded, but they also pretend to be retarded a lot.
They do it tactically, for sure. Yeah, they deploy supposed principles for tactical reasons. Mm-hmm. They act stupid for tactical reasons.
Should I not use that word for YouTube's algo?
What?
The hard R. Retarded.
Oh, you can do that.
I can. All right, just make it. I don't know where
you can't say retarded
nowadays.
No, say it all you want.
All right. No, I know I can say retard. I know it's socially acceptable now, but for you two, I didn't know if their algo.
I haven't won with the algorithm in the better part of a decade. So go right ahead. Right. But yeah, this you did this to yourself narrative over the weekend. Some of the most preposterous gaslighting I've seen in a long time, and. Now I'm wondering, now that we have more information, are these people going to go back and delete a lot of their tweets? Or are they? Some of them are still trying to stick to the story, okay? Yeah. The cope that I've seen now is that, well, really, there are lots of LGBT, gay, whatever term, conservative people, right-wing people. So, I mean, the fact that he had a trans gay roommate doesn't really mean that he was, into left-wing politics or motivated by left-wing politics, even though we also have people saying, yeah, he was definitely indoctrinated in left-wing politics. But who's this roommate of his living with him in St. George? It's a guy called Lance Twiggs, or what's the joke there? Lance cut off his twig? Think of a good one while I describe him. Lance Twiggs, some sort of transitioning furry boyfriend, okay? Not a lot known out about him beyond this role. His family says he's kind of a black sheep. Where's the famous furry photo of him? Or there's one. bunch of photos of him in this story. But this guy, Lance Twiggs, the transitioning boyfriend roommate, he shared messages from the Discord server that Tyler Robinson had sent to him about trying to recover his rifle from the shooting scene. So Lance Twiggs is cooperating with the investigation, which means how long until the tranny army kills Lance Twiggs in the gay war? I hope he's in witness protection or something like that. They're coming for him.
Well,
I guarantee you that.
The greatest threat to his life is himself, statistically. But so it's 40% one way, 60% the other.
Oh, man, what do you
do?
That's rough. It's rough odds. So we have Tyler Robinson's transgender boyfriend, Lance Twiggs. So this is a biological male, apparently transitioning to female. To review the evidence of Tyler Robinson's politics and probable motive, let's go through all of these beyond just the relationship with Lance Twiggs. First, there was the inscriptions on the ammunition. And one was, I think, on the spent case that was still in the rifle. And then there were a few other rounds in the rifle that was recovered in the woods nearby the college campus, the site of the shooting. And I know, obviously, this is a serious and tragic story, and we're not trying to treat it as anything other than that. Most of this story has brought a tear to my eyes. However, I would be lying if I said I didn't laugh the first time I heard the Utah...
I know exactly where this is going.
Okay. The Utah governor, I didn't read it beforehand. I heard this news from the Utah governor's mouth on Friday, listening to the press conference. Spencer Cox describing these ammunition inscriptions.
Inscriptions on the 3 unfired casings read, "Hey fascist!" ! "Catch!" ! Up arrow symbol, right arrow, and symbol, and 3 down arrow symbols. A second unfired casing read, "Oh Bella Chow, Bella Chow, Bella Chow, Chow Chow." And a third unfired casing read, "If you read this, you are gay, LMAO."
I could. And then I thought, is it poor taste to store that one on the soundboard?
You are gay, LMAO.
Can I divorce that one from its context? Because it's quite the hilarious piece of audio. Anyway, they actually tried to say, Matt, that the fact that he said "you are gay, LeMayo" made him right wing because it shows he's homophobic.
Well, I mean, he's gay himself, so he can't be by left wing standards.
Well, did you see the Krasenstein argument that he's straight because? Yeah. Well,
the thing I realized too, and when I saw the trans headlines, I realized I still had no idea what gender the person was because, like, it's always ambiguous because, like, on the right they're saying it's a guy, and the left they're saying women, and I just didn't know. It's a guy becoming a girl, correct?
Yes.
Okay, just making sure. All right. Yeah. I was a little still confused.
And that "you are gay" LeMayo message was actually, it appears to be a reference to a Steam gaming group that he was involved in. Now, of course, we have the like Bella Ciao and the anti-fascist and Antifa stuff. So that would imply left wing. Like no Groyper says, "Hey, fascist." And especially if the motive was not fascist enough. It doesn't make any sense. You have Antifa stuff inscribed on there, but why would he say "you are gay, LeMayo" if he is apparently gay, even if there'd be some bizarre explanation as to why he's straight, because actually his roommate is a woman or something. Mm-hmm. But Robinson was a member of this Steam gaming group called Read This If You're Gay. So presumably it's a reference to that group, I guess. Yeah. I don't know if that's like, I have no idea what this gaming group is. Does that mean like it's a gay club, a gay gaming club? Like if you're gay, hang out here. I don't know what that means.
Probably. But I mean, if everyone reading it is gay. I guess including us.
I know my eyes. You ever seen what's the Sandra Bullock Netflix? Yeah. Oh, it's like Medusa too. But what's the Bird Box or whatever, the Netflix movie with Sandra Bullock? You ever see that one?
No, I mean I've seen the trailer, but no.
Yeah, if you see the people who are infected, you have to you kill yourself.
Oh, shit.
It's a weird movie. But I guess this is if you read the words, you are compelled to commit acts, I guess. Anyway, this morning, Spencer Cox, the Utah governor, confirmed on several news shows that Robinson has this trans boyfriend roommate, Lance Twiggs. Not just that he has this trans gay relationship going on, but that he was actually indoctrinated with left-wing politics. So here he was on ABC this week with Martha Raddatz.
There were reports yesterday that we can confirm that his roommate was indeed a boyfriend who is transitioning from male to female. That's information that the FBI had mentioned yesterday. We can confirm that as well, and that he is cooperating with authorities as well.
Governor, you told the Wall Street Journal that Tyler Robinson was deeply indoctrinated with leftist ideology. Have investigators uncovered evidence to show that?
That has come from his acquaintances and his family members. That's where that initial information has come from. Certainly, there will be much more information that is released in the charging documents as they're bringing all of that together. There will be much more information on Tuesday when that document is filed with the courts.
So what evidence do you have that he was an insane leftist? Well, I refer you to the bullet casing.
You are gay, LMAO.
That's why he's an insane leftist. I don't know a lot of groypers or far-right, unironically fascist people who have gay trans boyfriends and are still mad about Charlie Kirk for not being conservative enough. So,
yeah.
You heard Spencer Cox mention Tuesday. That's because Robinson's first court date is set for Tuesday. So that's when we'll see the documents and evidence the governor is talking about. But this reporting this morning on ABC's This Week, Matt, I'm watching that because I want to see what all the latest information is. And I know the governor is going to be on, so I want to hear what he has to say. Before Spencer Cox appeared and just said it, yep, weird tranny boyfriend, yep, indoctrinated leftist. I'm telling you, lots of evidence. ABC and Martha Raddatz spent about 10 minutes going through the story and mentioning none of those factors. In fact, they said that they were getting a portrait of the shooter after looking at his family, and all they mentioned was that his family likes to hunt, and they're apparently, big gun people, implicitly blaming gun culture for this event.
As the investigation unfolds, a portrait of Robinson beginning to emerge. Social media shows members of his family included hunters, people very familiar and comfortable with firearms. Robinson had no military experience, but sources tell ABC News they believe he was proficient with firearms.
About 175 yards from the podium to the shooting location.
175 yards. And would you have to be a pretty proficient marksman to be able to make it, given those conditions?
Given the environment, that type of shot is not easy. It's not what we'd call a super long distance, but in that environment, that is a pretty precision shot to pull off.
They did social media searches and it turned up hunting photos with his parents. What else did these social media searches show?
You are gay, LMAO.
Apparently they missed those posts, I guess. I live near Utah. I don't spend a lot of time in Utah, but I'll tell you, Matt, a lot of gun-owning families, hunting families in Utah who aren't taking their guns out and murdering and assassinating people in spectacular fashion, as was done here.
There's like an inverse correlation between how ideologically committed to gun ownership you are and your likelihood to use a gun to kill someone. Like none of the gang members that are responsible for all of the gun violence in this country are like big Second Amendment buffs who are reading the Federalist Papers, you know?
Yeah, I saw one of those great soy jack type memes, you know, the ones with the source face or like the screaming internet guy yelling at you. What was the caption? It was something like, if you would just help us ban the guns, we wouldn't have to shoot you with one. Something like that.
Yeah, that's so good.
Yeah. But okay, fine. Maybe the reporters at ABC, they just missed the social media posts that show, cozying up with Lance Twiggs. And they missed whatever social media might show. Well, the thing is, if you start talking to the people close to Tyler Robinson, you actually learn that everything the governor is saying is true. Axios has 6 sources confirming the romantic relationship with the trans roommate, and that Tyler Robinson believed Charlie Kirk's views on transgenderism were, quote, hateful or otherwise bad. And reporters also spoke with at least one of Tyler Robinson's neighbors there in St. George. This guy thought that the two were very weird. He said he saw them kissing and holding hands.
Were they holding hands?
Yeah, they were.
And you thought he was weird?
Yeah, I definitely, yeah.
What was weird about him?
Just the way he walked and just the way I've seen him. I've never seen really anybody dressed all in black with a mask on, and I thought that was just quite weird.
There's some published reports out there that this individual, the roommate, may have been transitioning. Did that correlate with what you saw?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so he was going to have an operation to be to turn into a woman.
Yeah, and I think he's getting ready for that.
So, what way do you think that?
I remember them talking about a doctor's appointment. It was about 2 weeks ago, I would say.
And they were kissing?
Yeah.
Do you know, where did you see them kissing?
Just coming out.
But you were sure that they were a couple, but you have only seen them together once?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, random guys don't hold hands and definitely don't kiss.
That's a big game, man.
I will take his point on that.
I just wish when they said like what was weird about him, he just went, he's a fag. Like,
you are gay, LM.
Or that.
That's what was weird about him, yeah. You could tell he's like kind of thinking that. He's just not.
He's trying to be politically correct.
Yeah.
He dressed weird. He, I don't know.
Likewise, a former coworker of Tyler Johnson tells CNN Johnson was not a fan of Trump or Charlie Kirk.
Yeah.
Robinson was, quote, a little abnormal, didn't talk to anyone. He was a quiet dude, and he didn't like talking unless spoken to. He stays in the back, and I knew from word of mouth from coworkers that he was not fond of Trump or Charlie Kirk, obviously.
Then there's a reporter at Wisconsin right now who says he got a hold of a family member of Lance Twiggs. This is the trans roommate boyfriend. And this family member that the reporter spoke to said Lance Twiggs had animosity toward Christians and conservatives. The family member says that he, Lance, is very angry with anyone who is supportive of conservative ideals and Christian values. So you got all this testimony from people who know him, like, yeah, they were into left-wing politics, which kind of aligns with their lifestyle. And there was a great segment on CNN, by great, I mean completely preposterous, segment on CNN with a panel discussing the motive here. And now, because the twisting of this into right-wing politics is so far beyond preposterous, we're going to go into motive unknown. We're transitioning to motive unknown. All the evidence points one way. The flimsiest piece of evidence that they have makes no sense, pointing in the other direction. So CNN's terrorism analyst says this over the weekend. The motive, why even look for the motive? Probably never know, never be able to find the motive. And really, it's not just that we won't find it. Who cares about the motive? It's irrelevant. This is Juliette Kayyem.
She sucks.
She's an Obama Homeland Security.
I have a story about her after this.
All right, let's hear the clip and then tell me.
I don't think we know the meaning of his message. We know his history.
Bella Ciao is an anti-fascist thing. It says fascists catch this.
Then I'll give you his history. Then I'll give you his history, right? Think about his history. His history, but this is not the Bible.
Why are we debating that? This is what I'm
that's why I wanted to tell you.
This
was my point, not yours. This was my point, not yours.
I'm speaking.
The point is,
I'm speaking.
Who cares? A man was killed. And you have yet to say political violence is bad, period. That's all that people want from the president. That's all. And we're getting the spin up of the you and this and what. Stop counting. Well, stop looking, because you're not going to divine a perfect motive in this case. I think we're looking for it. You're not going to divine it. We generally don't.
She did the Hillary Clinton classic.
What difference at this point does it make?
Now, I would say it's the difference between correctly understanding why this event happened and incorrectly understanding it or not understanding it. In other words, it's the difference between learning from our mistakes or repeating them. I would say that's a pretty significant difference, maybe the most significant difference. But you say you have a story of this woman.
Well, her narrative is that the right wing isn't doing enough to condemn the political violence against Charlie Kirk. No, it's not really a story. It was just a really funny Twitter-ism where I guess Melania Trump had posted like a headshot where she was tilted kind of like this, looking at the camera.
Okay.
So she shared it and wrote this long diatribe about how unprofessional it is and how stupid it is to post a photo in that pose. And at that time, her profile picture was her in that exact same pose.
So
it's like they just take the opposite side, no matter how retarded it is. And when
so you're telling me that she wrote up this post with her own profile picture right next to the text that she's typing
in the exact same, side by side, is identical photo. Yeah. But her saying too, as a terrorism analyst, that the motive usually isn't fully known. Like, if it's an Islamist attack, it's known 100%.
Yeah,
it's usually known 100%.
How did you have a career
obvious.
in the Homeland Security Department by saying, I mean, really, who would ever know why these attacks happen? And frankly, should we even care? Speaking of people who need to be fired for national efficiency, hopefully she got fired from whatever. I don't know. She's still on CNN.
Probably not,
but this both sides point too. Even if this incident was inconclusive in its motive, which it's not, or if the scorekeeping on the politically motivated violence was something close to even, which it's not. If the right is as politically violent as the left, I noticed over the weekend, where were the riots? Saw a lot of people tweeting about this, but they're correct. Where were the riots? A top leader in conservative politics, the conservative movement, was just murdered in front of his fans. And there was not one riot anywhere in the country over the weekend.
Although there was some good violence.
What was that?
There was some guy who showed up to a Charlie Kirk vigil and was saying F Charlie. So protesters kick the shit out of him. The cops grab him. He starts yelling stuff back. The guys knock him over again. And then the cops continue arresting him and don't touch a single person who assaulted him. And then earlier today or yesterday, someone tried to start defacing the vigil. Bunch of guys kick the shit out of him. Cops they arrest the guy who got the shit kicked out of him. Don't do anything to the Charlie Kirk supporters.
Well, I'm glad someone learned that maybe they're a little too bold, because if these people are going to claim that right-wing violence is at least as common as the left-wing stuff, why doesn't the country prepare as though that's true? Why weren't the boards put up in urban centers to protect businesses from the rioters? Why? Nobody actually thinks that some Jussie Smollett style MAGA henchman is going to attack them on the streets. They don't act like that. They just say it as though it's true, but they don't act like it because it's not.
Yeah.
Now, have you seen the trans accounts that appeared to have known about this assassination ahead of time? You seen any of this?
Yeah, I never know if the dates are manipulated, because there's always a screenshot of a post, so I never know if it's faked or anything, but I'm aware of that they do exist.
Yeah. We heard in Erika Kirk's commentary, the anger at her for saying evildoers, plural, they, plural. We're talking about who killed Charlie. Well, if these are not outright fakes, like you're saying, there is an investigation into this right now. It looks like plenty of people had knowledge of the attack ahead of time. I mentioned on the Wednesday stream, there was this one with the smiling dog. There are a bunch more of them now, but there was this account called at Najra Galves. I don't know how you say it, but this account said beforehand, Charlie Kirk is coming to my college tomorrow. I really hope someone evaporates him literally. Now, I'm not surprised to see these people hoping for that, but it's the follow-up post. Let's just say something big will happen tomorrow. Okay. Axios reports yesterday that investigators are now looking at whether leftist groups have or had knowledge of the plans beforehand, or if they lent material support to Tyler Robinson after. There are at least apparently 6, maybe 7. I saw this story from Cassandra McDonald was updated, and she has another one in there apparently, so it might be 7. But there are many of these associated accounts that appear to have predicted what happened or had some kind of foreknowledge about it. And when I say associated, they're not just like randos. They're connected in some cases to this transgender roommate, Lance Twiggs. So there was one who celebrated. This is a person who follows Lance Twiggs on social media, and after it happened, was just tweeting, "We fucking did it." Okay. Another account urged others to check the news very soon. And that was 5 days ahead of the shooting. That same account followed up, well, that's that. Another chud bites the dust, confirming that's exactly what he was talking about when he posted earlier. Another account posted September 10th will be a very interesting day. And that post was made August 6th. Where's that one? Yeah, this one here. So that was posted a month ahead of time. September 10th will be a very interesting day. After the murder, that account quote tweeted himself saying, "I plead the fifth," when people were asking him questions about it. That kind of implies at least that he maybe was talking about the same thing. One of the accounts that is now deleted matches an account on TikTok that follows Robinson's trans roommate Lance Twiggs. So again, there are a few connections to this Lance Twiggs character. Cooperating with investigators, yes, but potentially involved in communication with people who knew ahead of time or perhaps lent support. And of course, we know that that Robinson, the shooter, reached out to Lance Twiggs on Discord trying to get his assistance in recovering the rifle. That to me would imply, like, the reports say that the roommate is just aghast and shocked. Why? Why would he be? Why would the
everyone
shooter
else
be,
knew? Like,
if all these people in the circle appear to have known, and the shooter is messaging him, "Hey man, left a rifle in the woods. Could you kindly pick it up for me?"
I just don't get who the audience for these tweets are, because like a cryptic tweet, if you're then going to go back and say, "Yep, it's exactly what I was expecting," like why would you give that information away?
It's very bizarre, but then again, these are people who believe that they're
retarded. Yeah,
I mean, they believe all sorts of lunacy and fantasy.
But no, I think these are probably legit after going through, these examples.
So, if this is what it appears to be, of course, this could be a network of trans killers and or their supporters. So again, you may not want the gay war. I but the gay war probably wants you. So prepare accordingly.
They're all a ticking time bomb. I feel like once you chop your dick off, you've gone to this point of no return where you've just destroyed your life and there's no escape. So why wouldn't you?
Yeah, I mean, when you're committed to living a lie, and you have to take it with you because you've built your entire life upon it, you will do all sorts of things to maintain that lie.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that all gay people, all trans people are about to murder someone. I'm just saying that when you confuse the fundamental distinction between men and women and the role that they share together, when you mess up that fundamental premise about the world, you can mess up a lot of other premises about the world. And that's how this moral confusion happens. So
someone pointed out, like, the kind of people who are like trans, Marxist, like pro-Palestine, but for like weird reasons, they're like a reverse litmus test where you can talk about some weird debate on geology and they'll somehow have the dumbest possible opinion on even that. Like, there's not a single thing they're right about.
Dude, I'm convinced dinosaurs are fake because of these people.
Yeah, all right.
That's how far I'm.
Damn.
I'm thinking about it. All right, there's more to say, more to discuss on this. I want to talk about the guy who was arrested initially thought to be the shooter, because that's weird. I want to talk about the guy who appeared to be cheering.
Yeah.
And his bizarre description of what happened. So there's plenty more to talk about on the other side of a Super Chat break here, but I do want to get into Super Chat because you guys have been very patient. So let's check in there. Purpose of the ages, don't let them swing first, has served me well, literally and metaphorically. I don't know how it applies to me in the context of Kirk, considering I'm a Christian and a family man of 3, but I still think it applies somehow. Yeah, I mean, clearly you don't want to let them swing first in the form of a gunshot or something like that. I mean, the battle of deciding the difficulty of deciding the exact point at which it's appropriate to defend yourself obviously is very legally complicated. Now we're entering this territory where people are just telling us explicitly, expressly in their own statements, I would like it if you died.
Yeah.
That's not a swing at you. It's not quite a gun pointed in your face in the legally technical, this is a presentation of lethal force to you, to which you would be justified in responding with force. But what am I supposed to, when people are telling me in clear terms, I would like it if you and your family were murdered.
Yeah.
The moral, this is a very complicated situation, and obviously you don't want to be wrong in applying force to anybody. That's what these demons do. But I find it very difficult to draw the lines here about what is acceptable defense and what is not. You have thoughts, moral clarity?
No, I agree with But no, I don't know. We got to play offense too, not just defense. It's
get him fired. Fair enough.
Let's just start with getting him fired. We'll see how it goes from there.
You may have some complaints, but at least I'm not shooting you in front of your family. All right.
This is the peaceful. This is non-violence.
Yeah.
So.
I saw people talking about the firings of the COVID vaccine too, and it was framed in media at the time. Thousands of workers opt to leave or something like that. It was like it presented it as they opted. Well, these people opted to leave the workforce too.
And the same people, there were subreddits, I think it was called Herman Cain Award, where they would put together like people who are anti-vaccine then dying from COVID, and then they would some of them would dox the family and send them messages mocking them for their relatives dying. Instead of being like, hey, isn't it tragic that what we think is misinformation is killing people? It's like, it's not it at all. They literally just want us to die. I mean,
that's the thing. I saw a tweet. Who was it? I think it was Blair White. It was like, they don't call you a Nazi. I forget how it was phrased, but it was saying that it's like they don't want you dead because they call you a Nazi. They call you a Nazi so that they can make you dead or something like that. But it's just saying this is the path to make you killable. Yeah. And they'll take whatever path. Again, to the extent these people are cheering, I like it when they die. Yeah. I like it when they're killed in cold blood. Well, then it's just a question of the tactics used to create the premise of justification, which they're doing in sick fashion with Charlie Kirk. Well, didn't he have bad opinions? No, he didn't. He had mainstream opinions that half the country has, and he expressed them rather politely. Yeah. So if you're saying politely expressing my views is not an option because I'll be shot, then I guess I have to respond with the same force. That's what you demand. Yeah. Because I'm not going to allow you to control my views. Nobody's bending the knee in that way.
Yeah, and as I said earlier, they're all anti-prison, they're all anti-death penalty, unless you say the wrong thing, in which case kill the whole family.
In which the smallest, the smallest supposed crime, to the point of word crimes, is a death penalty. Yeah. Long Dong John, it's been incredible to watch friends of mine post on Facebook about Irina Zarutska and the background on the film, or the filth that killed her. Like WTF this week, a small but interesting white pill. Well, I mean, is this a wake-up moment for a lot of the country? And I know that people who may be in the circle of this show are like, how could you possibly just now be waking up to this stuff? Well, a lot of people have families, they have jobs, they have things they need to pay attention to. They don't pay attention to day-to-day politics. They certainly don't pay attention to X or other social media. But when they see a guy that they maybe have seen some videos from over the last few years, they like him, they've heard of him, just outright shot in shocking fashion, and then cheering from high-profile people, and then people getting tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of likes on that sort of sentiment, you tend to wake up, whoever maybe was still asleep. Esoterica Unbound. Congrats, future dads. Well, thank you. Yesterday I was talking with an XO of mine from years ago. What is an XO?
Is it ex or a lover? Well, it can't be current lover.
Maybe just an ex, a romantic interest of the past. She's relatively normally a Democrat who voiced her dismay at current events, clearly referencing the shooting. Well, good. But then she added, it's crazy on both sides, of course, and cited the activities of the current administration. So in her understanding of the world, the elected government carrying out its constitutionally specified duties is of a kind with gunning someone down during debate. So many seemingly sane people have lost their minds. The clouds of looming boog, seem to me to be growing ever darker. And that's the thing, sure, you may not like what Trump says sometimes, whatever. Do you really think that the Trump saying things off the cuff is responsible for right on right violence? Yeah. With gay trans guys attacking more normie conservatives? You know that all this is mental gymnastics to somehow create the understanding that their side is correct, true, just, and it's everybody else who's the bad guy. But their resistance to introspection, man, I find it remarkable. Yeah. What I mean by that is let's reverse this. Let's say that a prominent I'm not going to name names, but a prominent left-wing person like Charlie Kirk was shot dead on stage by an actual MAGA hatsman. Right. And it was a perfect mirror image. I would like to think that I would think about maybe how I choose to talk about these people, how I how I contribute or what role I play just making sure this doesn't happen. Yeah. They are out there instead, even they're saying, no, he was a member of your team. I mean, the gaslighting is insane. If you can't be introspective about this, when can you? And I think the answer is never. I fear it is.
Yep.
Long Dong John, even if the shooter was a Trump supporter, a Groyper, or Mossad, and I haven't even gotten into that theory, forces trying to inspire civil war in the United States for their own purposes. Maybe the gay war is a figment. It's not real. It's just what other forces want us to engage in.
Maybe it's every possible cause so far we've listed.
They're not mutually exclusive. It's all of them.
It's true.
So whoever it is that going to make anyone unsee all the justifications, celebrations, and calls for more of it from their friends, family, colleagues, doctors, nurses, teachers, and even Ilhan Omar? How shocking to see Ilhan Omar sell it. They do a lot of this bullshit in Mogadishu. Go right back. Mortimer Duke, Trade School Fund 2.0. Congratulations. Well, thank you. I assume you mean for the children. And yeah, I mean, thankfully I don't have to confront college talk for my boys for many years now. But unless things change drastically, I'm not sending them to these indoctrination factories. Yeah. That's for sure. I'm sure I asked you before, but do you know if you're having a son or daughter? I can't remember.
Daughter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Likewise.
Nice.
I'm sure you're eager to send her to become an insane feminist whose proudest achievement will be, killing her offspring in the womb.
Well, I mean, if we do stay in America, we'll do private school. If we go back to the wife's country, this stuff doesn't exist there at all. There's no conception of this. So, yeah.
Mudslinger, calling it now, Tyler's boyfriend will be going to women's prison. That's not even a joke. It's probably true. Maybe. I mean, right now they're not charging him, of course, because they're saying he's cooperating, but it does appear to me like he may have some, criminal responsibility here. They might give him a deal because he cooperated. I don't know, but I just have a hard time believing he had no knowledge of this.
It's impossible. If he's telling his Discord people, I mean, was the roommate not in the Discord?
He was, yeah. Well,
he was, yeah.
So the roommate messaged.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Tyler Robinson,
correct,
messaged Lance Twiggs. Hey, man, got a gun in the woods. Could you please go recover it?
Yep. So, yeah.
Esoterica Unbound. In the vein of not stopping Charlie's message, TPUSA could afford to train one hell of an AI to emulate him. They could deploy it to debate Marxist trans people. You got to be careful with how you say it on the YouTube chat. That's why you wrote it all weird. At 1,000 universities at the same time. Yeah, so Charlie just appears at all universities simultaneously. God, this is going to get weird in the future. Yeah. But AP, the original Turning Point USA headquarters was in Lamont, Illinois, 10 minutes drive from my house. There are so many gifts there to pay respect. Something good to Google. Yeah, I saw what's going on in Arizona, too, at the current headquarters. And you may have heard the intro. The bagpipes I played was just a guy standing outside playing America the Beautiful on bagpipes, obviously in honor of Charlie Kirk. But, man, speaking of things that kind of brought a little bit of a tear to my eye this week, that was one of them. Let me hop over to Rumble. Purpose of the Ages, Matt's back from his mountain sabbatical, a Moby clone wailing Coldplay. Hey, you made fun of me this way last week, although I forgot why you make fun of me about Coldplay, and that's because I think that Yellow's a good song, Matt. Yellow fuels the alt-right. Now femboys and moderates are dangerous. Can we rewind to when Pizza Night was wild and exciting? Did you see that the Coldplay frontman, Chris Martin, even he was like, hey, all the best to Charlie's family. NFL games today. A lot of moments of silence for Charlie Kirk.
Yeah, the Coldplay guy kind of laundered it into a more general positivity thing, but I think he just did that to not get as much blowback. The fact that he did it still says a lot. And then I was honestly surprised by the sports reaction. I mean, I think it is the first time anything like this has happened. It kind of is an end of the era where they were spray painting, like, end racism in the end
zone.
Those
are still there. Yeah,
they are?
Until we get don't be gay lol in the end zone, we want to fully arrived. Or, of course,
you are gay, LMAO.
If that's in the end zone.
All right. Well, I was wrong. I probably should have fact-checked. Well, I don't know. Anyway, I was wrong about that, but it's at least the first time I think we've seen this happen with someone on the right being celebrated and remembered at all. So there's
hard to remember another time. Yeah. positive developments in in the context of horror, obviously. Over on Rumble, Lbot.
I am not going to be niggardly.
I'm not even going to call you iBot this time. Thank you, Lbot. Appreciate you as always. Yakko, 1977. I don't think it was possible to misquote or take a person out of context more than President Trump. I was wrong. Most of those hating Charlie Kirk would hate him regardless. So the need to misquote him is odd. And all the misquotes are just enraging, but it's so stupid. It's like, God, I don't care if he does think that gun deaths are good. Like you still don't get to murder him. Even if he said, I like school, even if he did the Tim Walz bit, I'm friends with school shooters and I like them, wherever my button for that is. I can't get to it fast. There we go.
Become friends with school shooters.
Even if he authentically had the Tim Walz attitude, you don't get to murder him. It's a viewpoint.
Imagine if someone was like a famous car enthusiast and they got killed in a car crash and everyone was like, serves you right, asshole. Like, it's the same thing.
I know, it's like, do you, and we're going to talk about the school shooting later, and I give Charlie the same attitude he had toward victims of school shootings. Do you think Charlie Kirk was pro school shooting murder? No, again, we disagree in practical and moral terms that trying to take guns from people or ban them is a solution. It's not. Yeah. It's immoral and it won't work. So stop trying to insist that it's an easy fix.
Well, even if let's just say we're going to be like, just because we have divine intervention on our behalf and we can eliminate all school shootings. The firearm homicide rate goes down by, 0.1%, maybe 0.2% if we're lucky in a given year. Like, it's mainly illegal guns in cities, and we don't enforce. It's the weirdest thing. The people who are pro-gun control don't enforce gun laws in the manner where they could actually impact. So, having a gun-free zone is the dumbest form of gun control because you violate it by walking in there with a gun. But if you have a law where if you are a gang member who can't own a gun, you get a mandatory 10 years in jail, well, that's 10 years you're not going to have a gun murder from that person. And those laws generally don't get enforced in blue cities. Like in Chicago, Kim Foxx, the Jesse Smollett
of course.
DA.
Did you watch the documentary, by the way, the Netflix?
We'll talk about that. Yeah, it was hilarious.
I talked about it on Sunday a little bit, but maybe another time we can talk about it.
All right. That was
amazing.
Great. But there was a gunfight between two gang members, and she didn't charge them on the basis that the battle was mutual combat.
That's right.
I'm just saying, you could have had... You could have two attempted murderers off the street for decades if you enforced that gun law, but they want to enforce them against 100 million people to stop 5 deaths a year. It's just psychotic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get a few more on Rumble here. We'll hop back into the rest of the news. Well, more stuff with the assassination. Mysteries remaining. Yakko, 1977. I read that one. Thank you, Yakko. Kent, Pittsburgh. Remember when Gina Carano was canceled for simply saying, hey guys, we're treating each other like late 1930s Germany. Let's be careful. It's a little prophetic on that, it seems. Not only wrong, but actually insightful. The left has no right to complain about being canceled. R.I.P. Charlie Kirk. Thank you, Kent, and I hope you're doing well. I remember Kent because Kent was actually at the Butler event where Trump was shot. And so, he almost saw something like this happen in front of him. But I hope you're doing well, Kent. Laughing Boy. I quote Andrew Branca about using cancel culture. Yes, all of those thousands of people online should be prepared for the treatment they so gleefully handed out to others. You killed our polite guy. Yeah, I'm sorry. Like, if I don't know why I say I'm sorry, because I'm not. If it's too much for you to ask, or it's too much to ask of you, that you not celebrate cold-blooded murder. That's redundant, but cold-blooded killing. There has to be some accountability for that. We have to have some social mechanisms to correct for people who are so morally deranged that they think they can cheer murder. Yeah. We have to have some social corrective measure. Yeah. And I think that something short of putting them in prison, it's not what I don't want our society and our culture to be this, but I do want a society and a culture that is morally clear enough to say, murder is pretty bad.
Yeah. Well, we could,
whatever mechanism we have to deploy to get that. Okay, it's time, clearly.
We could like put them in camps like to help them focus, maybe. I don't know if that would maybe solve the problem at all.
History has proven it effective.
Get a little labor. They could do the jobs that the illegals won't be doing anymore. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm
you
just
want fascists
spitballing
and
here.
Nazis. You know, you are baiting them right now.
Yeah.
EJ Brown, just wanted to share the good news that my wife, Lady Golden Dragon, and I are expecting a baby girl in January.
We love you. You're very special.
We went through the show. We met through the show, and are ever grateful for the work you do, Matt. Cheers. I think I know I've spoken with Lady Golden Dragon. If I'm not mistaken, I think I've spoken with you as well, E.G. Brown, or maybe I'm misremembering. But that, first of all, congratulations. But it is always the highest honor for me to know that I have been a part of creating a new family, and so I'm beyond honored to hear that. All the best to you. Congratulations. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for supporting the show, and most importantly, all the best to you and your family on your new edition. I'm going to leave it there.
I'll have to just circle back with you.
And I do see you blankets sending me memes over on Odyssey. I appreciate those. Thank you for supporting the show as well. And I'm going to get back into the news. Matt, do you know this character, George Zinn?
Was that the first person arrested at the?
Yeah.
And I know some people were trying to argue it was some sort of diversion thing, but I don't know what his. I don't know the story behind what tipped them off. It was him or what?
Yeah. So there was this guy, George Zinn. He's 71 years old. Initially arrested. People thought he was the shooter. There were pictures of him, videos of him circulating all over X. Oh, they got the guy. He turned out not to be. He was released. He was charged with obstruction. And George Zinn is a known political activist in Utah. He apparently protests. He gets arrested at political events in the area commonly. He has a criminal history dating back to the 80s. They say he's some kind of conservative or libertarian. Yeah. He just seems like kind of a kook, if we're taking the kindest interpretation of this. People have urged him to seek mental help in the past because he's just kind of weird and lurky and disruptive. But here he was initially being arrested right after Charlie was shot.
We don't know if it's him or not.
Okay, so they're taking him out, and the police are saying that he said he shot Charlie. I couldn't find video of him saying I shot Charlie. Supposedly he said shoot me. There are people claims on X, and maybe it's confirmed. I just haven't found a video of it, but people saying that he was claiming to be the shooter, and even that police officer said George Zinn said he shot him, but I don't know. So whatever's going on, he's doing something that is disruptive right after Charlie Kirk is shot. Is he just mentally ill? Is he just crazy? Or is he in on it? Is he some kind of decoy? Is he some kind of distraction, intentionally drawing people's attention while the shooter escapes? There's a demonstrated history of him being kooky, so that's kind of in character. I just don't understand, even if you're a kooky guy who sometimes is disruptive, what would be the reason other than creating a distraction to be like, hey, look, guys, it's me. I'm the shooter. So you're risking your life, too. You could potentially be shot dead just for saying that.
Yeah. Is the obstruction that they misled the cops? And is that the basis of the? And also, wouldn't he have a gun near him? I just don't get why it was believed unless.
Where
you saying I'm the shooter, but there's no gun around. I know it's very bizarre.
I think that's why the claim kind of fell apart so quickly. Is clearly he didn't have a rifle or anything. I cannot think of any explanation other than he's intentionally creating a distraction. And it's hard for me to think why anyone would want to do that unless their intent was for the shooter to have an easier escape. Yeah. That said, as far as I'm aware, there's no demonstrated connection between Tyler Robinson and this guy. And this guy's politics appear to be the opposite of Tyler Robinson, or not, closely related at all. Yeah. So it doesn't make sense to me that he would behave this way, but at the same time, there's not a lot of evidence to say that he was involved in this beyond just being like an old kook.
Yeah. I mean, that is the simplest explanation, but, we'll probably find out soon, hopefully.
Well, there was also the guy who appeared to be cheering.
Was cheering. I saw it. He thinks we're retarded. If he thinks we're going to believe his explanation.
He does think we're highly regarded. That was confirmed. Did you see? He posted 2 videos. You see both of them?
Well, I saw that he was actually trying to help. So,
yes, yeah. We'll get to his explanation.
But here's the thing: if you were why did he look back to cheer?
There are many holes in this explanation.
So,
but
like, why would it have to be? He's looking at someone for their approval. I don't know.
That's what it looks like. Yeah.
Yeah. So
this guy's name is David. There's a photo and video of him right after Charlie was shot. Like you said, it appears that he's looking back at the origin of the shot. Maybe he even knows the shooter, although he's not saying that, and I don't have evidence to say that he does, but he appears to be looking at where the shot came from, rather happy about it, with his arms in the air, cheering, as though it was successful or pursuant to the ends he would like to see. His name is David. He says in some follow-up video posts that he is a military veteran. I don't have his tweets, but he has made a couple of videos here. He says he's a military veteran. I didn't see a lot of details on the nature of his military service, but that's what he says. And in a video posted to X on Friday, he says he was just using his military crisis management skills to distract the crowd from the chaos and the confusion. He was being a good guy, actually.
Another speaker raised the idea of restricting gun rights for transgender individuals. Citing Donald Trump as an influence, he began to reference statistics and posed a question. Charlie's response turned to the subject of gang violence as a part of the mass shooting statistics. At that point, I did not see what happened directly. My head was lowered while I listened. When I heard a sharp crack, at first I thought it might have been fireworks or a disruptive prank, so I looked up to the horizon for smoke. When none appeared, I realized it must have been a firearm. My friend reacted in horror, saying Charlie had been struck. His voice and description told me how serious it was. Realizing the situation was dangerous, I stood and shouted USA, not as a provocation, but to project strength, encourage others, and create a distraction that might help calm panic or even save lives. At that moment, no one knew whether this was a lone shooter or something coordinated.
I doubt it. Well, okay, that's what gives it away, though. If you if you and I were there, wouldn't you think a mass shooting was just about to start?
Yes. Yeah.
So you're gonna get up and be like, "Hey, mass shooter, everyone, we're cool, we're cool." Like,
yeah,
I'm trying to picture though, follow exactly what he says. So he was standing there, he was looking down, and then Charlie gets shot, which he apparently didn't see.
Yeah.
Everyone goes to the ground, then he goes to the ground, and then looks back for a firework. And then realizes it's a shooter, so he gets up to celebrate. I'm just trying to piece together everything he said in a row.
Yeah, well, it's like not only not the way your standard person would react instinctively or reflexively, but he's citing military training when he talks about that. And he'll talk about his soldiers in this next clip. And I was not in the military. I didn't go through basic. I didn't go through boot camp. I am not aware of military training, though, that instructs you to become a larger target when under fire. That seems contrary to what our armed forces might teach.
Yeah.
But yes, when you're under fire, whether it's, Al-Qaeda, Taliban, whoever might be shooting at you these days. Hey,
hey, over here, shooter.
I'm just trying to improve morale down here.
Also, he's reading a script, so it's not a natural retelling. He came up with a narrative, and it's some drug-addled nonsense.
Yeah, I mean, I have a hard time believing that, even if I want to say, well, he's being very careful with his words to be precise and to be accurate. It just doesn't make sense from a layman perspective or a military perspective. And me, the best I could do is like, okay, maybe I'm missing something though, because I've never been in the military, as I said. I've also never been under fire or in a situation remotely close. So when you have a completely chaotic, crazy situation, which is a threat on your life, sometimes people behave in irrational ways or do silly things. What I'm saying is it's got to be very difficult to be in the position he says he was, which was, watching a horrific murder right in front of his face, or if not watching it, hearing it and realizing that's what happened. Yeah. But I have an even harder, if the first video was hard to understand, even if I could offer some grace for it, the second video that he posted is even harder for me to understand. He ratchets up the rage. I'll play it and get your commentary.
Yeah. All this chatter is absolutely incredible, but I'm actually really burnt. I'm honestly like the happiest person you have ever met in your entire life. And I am absolutely sick of all of my soldiers, including Charlie, dying so you guys can mock each other. Mock away and see what happens. I am done with my soldiers dying while everyone just mocks each other. Mock, mock, mock. You think that that's a solution? You know every major religion speaks out against mockery. And I saw mockery. And I saw a mob just energized with mockery, absolutely laughing. This is John Oliver. This is Matt Walsh. This is Louder with Crowder. This is all the mockery that's existed on both sides of the equation, and it's killing my soldiers, my people, and I'm done. I don't want to see my men die anymore. I'm sick of it. I'm sick.
Well, have you ever seen a happier man, to his point?
Well, I was going to say, like, one theory for why he celebrated could be to signal to the shooter, like, I'm one of the good, I'm on your side, don't shoot me, if you think it's going to be a mass shooting. I mean, that's just, I'm spitballing here. But listen, if you and I were there and had genuinely done something that was out of context, wouldn't we be, like, devastated, apologetic, showing proof of, listen, I've been a fan of Charlie for 10 years. Here's me sharing his tweets for the past 10 years. And I was at this other event of his, and here's me with some, like, you would have evidence that you were a conservative, that you're on their side.
I think
like,
his story, he's just like, he's not, I think he said something like, I'm not super political, but I was just, my friend is into this, and I was there with my friend, and I've known a little bit about Charlie, but not a lot, was kind of his explanation. He's not saying that he was like a big Charlie fan, that's for sure.
Yeah, I just don't buy it. This guy's
and then
he's clearly mentally ill or on drugs too.
Well, I do believe that part of what he said.
I'm sick.
Yeah, I think that was truthfully stated.
I'm sick.
But I don't know the reason that he called out Steven Crowder, Matt Walsh, and John Oliver by name. Did they talk about him? I didn't see that if they did.
I doubt John Oliver did.
I definitely could see, to your point, I could see Crowder and Matt Walsh talking about it. I'm not sure if they did, but it was calling out the mockery. Are you talking mockery in general or mockery of you personally? I wasn't clear on the point that he was making. Yeah,
I think the mockery of Charlie dying is worse than the mockery of the guy mocking Charlie dying.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Now, there are posts in his replies that say that he's something of a left-wing activist. Posts saying that they found other accounts of his in which he says he's a liberal activist, LGBT supporter of Kamala 2028. Now, the account that is shown here is one with very little posts or followers.
Could be just made or something.
Exactly. Like, could be a fresh creation. However, my question from this is that an authentic photo of him at a Kamala event, or did someone make this? And I don't know the answer to that question.
Has she ever used, like, I don't, is that a legit, I mean, the font looks legit. I just don't know if she's ever done Kamala Harris for president. Isn't it usually just like Harris 2024 or?
Yeah, I don't know about the branding. It does, maybe something about it looks a little suspicious to me.
Between the A and the H, it looks a little.
Like it might be some kind of photoshopped or AI thing or something.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to see. And then underneath Harris, what does that say?
It looks like I mean, it looks blurry, but it doesn't make sense, like from an optics perspective, that the Harris text would be sharp, but the smaller text would be blurry.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm sure it is a left-wing person. I just don't know if this particular image is. Like, I think that's a real image of him. I just don't know about the background.
Yeah, I would be suspect of this, but. Did you see what you want to inspect it anymore?
I was trying to see if there's any typo or misspellings, but no, everything.
Well, the stuff below, to your point, just doesn't even look like text. You're right. It looks like nonsense.
Yeah. Anyway.
It does appear to say forward together on the left.
But I think it's probably AI.
Yeah, could be. Yeah. Oh, you know what? You know what's a tell? Look under his armpit. It's hard to see, but you see what appears to be a Kamala podium with someone at the podium.
Oh yeah,
that's not her. Or this is and
no, this is Kamala. I think the text instead of Harris. It wouldn't be. It's always Harris, not Kamala. Harris,
yeah, that's. I should not have even put this on the screen because this appears to be a bunch of nonsense.
You are fake news.
Very fake news. Good detective work team.
Yeah, I'll take accountability on that one. But sometimes we do it live, Fuck it, we do it live.
Yeah, it was easy. We figured it out quickly.
All right. Did you see what David Hogg had to say?
I didn't want to. What did he say?
Regrettably, David Hogg, of course, he can't help but make it about himself. He can't help but insert himself into this event, just like he inserted himself into Parkland after being off campus. David Hogg apparently wants to be martyred himself. David Hogg is doing the Joseph Rosenbaum bit from the Kyle Rittenhouse episode. David Hogg is saying, please, shoot me.
Shoot me, nigga. Shoot me, nigga.
David Hogg
shot.
Famous last words. David Hogg tweeted on Saturday, if I ever get killed by one of those right-wingers, as though that's what this was, politicize the fuck out of my death immediately. I'm talking about before my blood runs cold, and use it to pass as many gun laws as possible and raise as much money as you can to primary Democrats who refuse to support gun laws.
Ooh, don't do it. Please don't do it.
I'm saying this because I know Fox News will say it's wrong to politicize my death and it's too soon. Fuck that. It's too late. Also, use the money to defeat Republicans who don't support stronger gun laws, too, obviously. I'm getting this out there just in case. We live in a crazy world, but I'll be damned if they say I wouldn't have wanted people to act immediately. Yeah, no, this will shock you, David, but we're not actually sitting around thinking about your death all the time.
He's entertainment to us. I don't want it. I have a vested interest in keeping him alive.
Well, that's if Republicans, right-wingers, conservatives, whoever, his political opposition, even if they supported him dying, or they don't morally, what I'm saying, like independent of the politics, people don't want you just killed in cold blood in the same way, but they don't want you dead politically. Like they're morally against that, but politically, you are one of the foremost gun salesmen of the last 10 years. Not just gun sales, but like gun rights catalysts. And I say that personally, like I was kind of gun adjacent before Parkland and David Hogg. Like I supported the rights and I thought they're kind of cool, but I mostly just played video games. I didn't like gun ownership and proper gun use and maintenance and all these things was not a part of my day-to-day life. Because him and his friends so insistently said that they were going to try to ban everything, I thought, well, I better learn about this stuff. So David Hogg is personally responsible for like how my gun safe got started, really. Like nice. the stuff in there is bought because of David Hogg. So no, like we don't want David dead. He's an industry asset.
They were all astroturfed anyway. Like within a day of the shooting, it was all high-level Democrat operatives organizing them, and they picked a specific group of kids who were mostly theater kids to be the activists. There was a subreddit that was started after the shooting, and it was sort of like a support group, but it was meant for kids who went to Parkland and supported the shooting. And there are threads about like, well, what do you think?
Supported the shooting?
No, what do you mean? Support each other in the aftermath. I'm not saying make friends with school shooters.
I've become friends with school shooters.
But like to support one another. And there were threads asking, well, what do we think about these people like Hogg, Kasky, the other, creeps.
Hasky came out as gay later.
Whoa.
And
holy shit.
You didn't know that?
No, I'm kidding.
Oh, okay. I thought that came off as shock as genuine as the tranny boyfriend learning about the Robinson shooter, his roommate.
But all the comments from the kids who actually went to Parkland were negative and saw them as exploiting it and trying to gain fame. And I mean, there was an episode of like Ellen they went on, and they were posting to either their Instagram or their TikTok beforehand. And they were like doing little dances about how excited they were to go on Ellen, and then went to this whole somber discussion about watching people die. And it was just, I don't know, it was all fake.
And isn't that such a tell, too? Just get a bunch of money and pass as many gun laws as you can. Like, what gun laws? I don't know. As many as you can. I don't even give a shit what they are. Just less guns. And this is the guy who insists. Like, you see him, I don't know if you saw his debate with Spike Cohen, or he's done some, ostensibly good faith debates, which I actually give him credit for. But anytime he's actually challenged, suddenly he becomes much more moderate and reasonable. Listen, I'm not trying to disarm law-abiding Americans. I'm merely trying to keep dangerous tools of destruction out of the hands of those who should not be wielding them. And then He said he tries to present himself as a reasonable person, and then he gets on X and it's like, just whatever fucking gun laws I don't even care. I don't care if they're duplicative. Same laws multiple times, ban whatever gun you want. And you look at this case.
Yeah.
What guns are we talking about?
Well,
we're talking about a bolt action design that's like a century old. More.
That's what I was going to say. Like, if you're calling for gun control after the Kirk shooting, you just want to be in all of them. Like, and even Australia, when they had their huge gun ban buyback, you could still get a bolt action rifle. That was still legal. So
the Mausers, they pack a very serious punch. I mean, he's shooting a 30-06 there.
Yeah.
And those, I mean, that's a very strong round. So I don't mean to diminish it, but it doesn't, my point is it doesn't get more hunty than that. These people that insist that hunting is the reason for the Second Amendment, and a totally legitimate reason to arm yourself, hunting. Yeah. It'd be a perfectly suitable deer hunting rifle that now you're telling me, nope, use by death to ban them all.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. But, David, it's a crazy world out there. You never know what could happen, which is why you insist that we all should disarm ourselves.
Yeah.
Who knows? Someone might murder you at any point. Better disarm yourself to prepare, says David Hogg, a guy with a paid security detail. David Hogg is not walking around without the protection of guns at all points in time. And anyway, that's enough time with him. Giving sincere consideration to David Hogg. It just the ability, if there's one thing more impressive than the ability to reject all introspection in situations like this, it is the remarkable ability to make it about yourself.
Yeah. I love that he
just incredible.
I love that he ran for vice chair of the fuck all white men party, and then they ousted him from the position.
Didn't work out.
Yeah.
But that's all I got on the Charlie Kirk situation. Let's talk about this Evergreen, Colorado school shooting. This was overshadowed in the news cycle this week. The school shooting in Evergreen, a Denver suburb. A 16-year-old Desmond Holly shot 2 students dead at Evergreen High School before turning the gun on himself and killing himself. Now, I thought that he had killed these 2 students. I think that they're critical, but they've actually survived, if I understand the reporting correctly.
So only he died?
It sounds like only he died.
Oh, that's awesome.
If I'm understanding this reporting.
Oh,
but
cool.
But likewise on the Mauser and the bolt action rifle, this kid used some sort of revolver. This was not, an assault weapon shooting. Investigators say he was carrying a substantial amount of ammunition. What's a substantial amount to these people? I don't know. But unclear where he got the gun. His parents are now cooperating with the investigation. Of course, as a 16-year-old, you can't just walk into a gun store and buy a handgun. You would need to be supplied that gun by somebody. And investigators are saying he was radicalized by his online communities, though officially they haven't said much about radicalized how or to believe what. But reporters at the Denver Post and some other outlets have gone digging. They have found some of his social media accounts. They say that this shooter kid, Holly, had that he had espoused white supremacist views online and showed interest in prior mass shooters. So this shooter kid, Desmond Holly, had posted a photo on TikTok 5 days prior wearing a black shirt that says "Wrath" written in red, similar to what one of the Columbine shooters had worn the day of their shooting, or at some point around then. The same post also includes images of a 15-year-old school shooter in Madison, Wisconsin from December. The Denver Post says other posts question the Holocaust. The name of one of his accounts appears to end with a reference to a prominent white supremacist slogan, they say, though I haven't really seen an explanation for what that is, unless I missed it.
Like a 1488 thing.
Could be something like that. There was also anti-Semitic videos and depictions of people in Nazi uniforms. And I'm not saying any of that is false. I do find it a little weird, though, when reporting like this comes out and they just describe it. Like, clearly you saw the posts. This reporter at the Denver, why don't we just get to see what the material was? And it could be all correct and accurate. I'm not saying it's not. It's just I find it odd that they won't show us. They'll just describe the material. And if you have it in your possession, it'd be persuasive to show it, I think. But this story has been referenced by many in the context of the Charlie Kirk assassination. And like I said, people say things like, I don't have any empathy for Charlie Kirk. I only have empathy for the victims of school shootings, and he loved school shootings, so the hell with him. But they post their out of context quote as well. But I've seen this story presented this week as some kind of dunk on right-wing, conservative, whatever people, opponents of the left as they're viewed, as though it's some kind of own to say that this act of senseless violence is wrong while explaining away another. Oh, you guys don't want to talk about school shootings. Gladly. This looks like it sucks bad. I hope it doesn't happen anymore. We should probably have better security measures to stop this sort of thing. They're trying to dunk on people who disagree with them by appealing to this case as though people think this case is good and as though they aren't the ones saying that case is bad over there, because obviously innocent students were involved, so it is bad. But the other case, not that bad because it was a guy that said stuff or believed stuff that I don't like. And so my moral question, my moral pretzel for many of the people making a case similar to this is, what if it comes out that one of these victims, and again, God bless them, I hope they recover, or I hope the best for them. But let's say hypothetically, it comes out that like one of these victims is a big fan of Charlie Kirk, loved Charlie Kirk, was planning on going to Charlie Kirk's tour stop in a little while. Like, does the school shooting then become good? Or is the school shooting still bad? And if the school shooting is bad because the kid didn't deserve to be shot for liking Charlie Kirk, because that's not sufficient to justify that sort of thing, why does Charlie Kirk deserve to be shot for saying and believing the same things? Again, creating moral pretzels where they're not really untieable, but interesting to think about.
Yeah, I don't know how that nets out from their perspective. I mean, they'll just focus on whatever they think is most politically convenient, which I think will be the gun control narrative versus the gloating about it, Charlie. Or maybe they'll just say, like, well, isn't it so ironic, but without, I don't know. They will find a way because they're mentally ill and have no actual principles. But
well, if only we ban the revolvers, too. We got to ban the bolt actions. We got to ban the revolvers. That's the thing is, they're calling for gun control, but these are both the common sense guns that they say people actually have a right to possess. So, it's not going to stop at common sense. It's going to become very, I don't know, how would you phrase it? Uncommonly unsensible? I don't know. Yeah. There's a better line than that somewhere in there, but
uncommon sense.
Yeah. Let me escape that awkwardness and get into hoax hate. You ready?
Oh, this will be fun.
And now, the nobody saw it happen, but it's totally a product of Trump's America hoax hate crime of the week.
Ah, shit, it's backwards. You think they'll notice?
In Warren, Michigan, leadership at a mosque says the facility has been vandalized with hateful messages, though police don't consider this a hate crime. The hateful messages are apparently very juvenile in nature. Some of them actually sound like they might be inscribed on ammunition.
It was actually a construction crew. They're actually hard at work right now that discovered this vandalism when they reported to work on Monday. Now, just take a look right with me. As you can see, someone had the nerve to actually break this glass. You can see the remnants all here on the floor. They actually also spray painted graffiti messages on the ground. But guess what? Police do not believe this is a hate crime.
They spray painted the word gay on the machine that belonged to the contractor, the Caterpillar, I guess you would call it. And then on the floor, they sprayed the word loved, broke windows, or rather glass, mirrors, then broke the door. From what the detective is telling me, this is kid stuff.
The Council on American Islamic Relations, that's also known as CARE Michigan, they're offering a $1,000 reward for any information that leads to an arrest and conviction. Now, because this mosque is being expanded, the cameras were not up at the time. So basically, it's pertinent that if anyone saw or heard anything, that they report this information to police.
Among many questions, why is destruction even abnormal at all in the context of a renovation? Isn't that bathroom being renovated? Wouldn't you take a sledgehammer to it anyway?
Yeah, I don't think you just keep the windows. And again, you would never write gay on a mosque. Like the Muslims seeing that would be like, yeah, we're not cool with gay. I don't know. It's just
isn't like, that their preferred message? Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just so weird. Why not just write like, bacon rule. I don't know. I don't know how I would commit a hate crime if I had to, but it wouldn't be that.
The strange thing too, not just writing gay on the excavator. They're saying someone spray painted love or loved. How is that relevant in a hate crime That's a love crime.
It's a love crime. It's the best kind of crime.
Yeah, those are excused, I guess, or they should be. I mean, anyway.
Yeah.
I don't see a GoFundMe for this mosque, so this is not an easily identifiable scam to cash in on this, apparently. Maybe it was just punk kids having fun, but of course they're going to make this up to be some big deal when it quite obviously is not. They had a big event to bring attention to this crime on Friday with interfaith speakers present, talking about the importance of religious unity.
In front of the mirror? Here's the thing. Even if it was vandalism with the mirror, they're vandalizing something that's getting vandalized anyway.
Yes.
So they're just pre-destroying it.
That's a huge bitch.
Anyway.
She is massive.
Police officers spoke at this event. Warren Police Commissioner Aaron Hawkins spoke briefly. So this guy who runs the police department there said that they're investigating thoroughly, but so far no evidence. He didn't say it at the event, but he said at the event they're investigating thoroughly. This comes as the police department, though, has put out a press release that says there's no evidence that has been found to indicate bias or hate-related motive. But we're still going to have this big event, as though that's what we're dealing with. Here, come by, look at our torn down walls and destroyed fixtures because we're putting in new stuff. This is a renovation demonstration, nothing more. All right. I mentioned the Greta Thunberg saga. So the hoax droning, so to speak. And this isn't really, it's not hoax hate per se, but it is a hoax attack. And it is a hoax attack for ideological reasons. So I'm going to shoehorn this into the hoax hate bit anyway. And I had planned to talk about this story on Wednesday, but of course, more significant news broke, and so we didn't get into this. But Greta Thunberg, which is the proper pronunciation, don't forget, Greta Thunberg and her now internet appreciated assets they're now back at sea. So she's not sidelined by these drone attacks anymore. She's trying to deliver humanitarian supplies to Gaza. That was the whole point of this flotilla she's operating, this naval fleet, this group of boats. Though, of course, the city is under blockade. It is inaccessible, at least if you show up on demand. You can still bring humanitarian aid to Gaza. You just can't drive a boat in there whenever you want because you might be giving arms or other resources to Hamas. But her convoy includes apparently 40 vessels and as many as 700 activists from 40 countries. And so earlier in the week, she and her crew claimed that they were hit by, I don't know if they directly accused Israel, but implicitly Israeli drones. They were hit by drones, though. Drones from people who don't like them. They were, Israel, I guess, tried to shoot them out of the water, is the claim.
I heard a drone, what was clearly a drone. Then I got out of the cover, saw a drone clearly about 4 meters above my head. Called someone. We were looking at the drone just above our heads, really. It stopped close to us and then moved slowly to the forward part of the ship and dropped what was obviously a bomb on the forward part of the deck. There was a huge explosion, lots of fire, big flame. We could have been killed.
It was obviously a bomb. Did you see the obvious destruction that this obvious bomb inflicted?
Was it not obvious at all?
So very minor. In fact, it seems absent, and it's not just weird that an obvious bomb didn't hurt a single person. It didn't sink a single ship. Allegedly from a country that is pretty militarily capable. If they want your boat at the ocean floor, that's where it's going to be. Yeah. But yeah, it's not just that the claim seems suspicious. It's that there's video of who appears to be that guy himself. Looks like the same guy shooting off a flare and shooting it either intentionally to strike to fall back down and hit their own ship, or he's just very bad at shooting flares. But here's what happened with what was supposedly, obviously, a bomb. Now, what do you think? Is that intentional hoax and huge liar, or is that just like completely incompetent guy?
I think, well, he had to have known. I mean, how do you not correlate it shooting up and then it happening right after?
Nice.
So, but I think they were trying to fake it as if it was an obvious bomb that didn't act like a bomb.
Even if I could give some benefit of the doubt on some kind of accident that someone misinterpreted, the fact that they did it again right away makes it harder to believe that there was any authenticity in the first one. So that alleged bombing, that obvious drone bombing, happened on Tuesday. There was another attack on Wednesday, another claimed attack. Greta and friends say another drone dropped an Israeli hand grenade onto the deck of one of their ships.
This is the moment activists say a drone hit a boat attempting to take aid to Gaza on Tuesday night. It's the second claimed attack in 2 days on the flotilla of ships off the coast of Tunisia. On the boats was a group of activists, including Swedish campaigner Greta Thunberg. Activists say this charred electronic device was recovered from the deck of the boat after the second attack. They also posted this video of the device, which they describe as explosive debris. BBC Verify put these images to two weapons experts who both said this appears to be a grenade. NR Jensen Jones told us features of the device are common but not exclusive to some models of Israeli hand grenades. He added that Israeli forces are known to have used UAV or drone-delivered incendiary munitions on previous occasions. David Heathcote said while it wasn't possible to make a country-specific call, he told us it's clearly some kind of grenade, most likely delivered by drone. BBC Verify asked the Israel Defense Forces if Israel was responsible for either of the suspected attacks. They did not provide a comment. Tunisian authorities said no drones had been detected in either incident.
So, a hand grenade detonated on the deck of the boat, and again, nobody hurt, no meaningful damage to the boat. But it's that last part that's key. Tunisian authorities say there was no drone activity in the area. Now, the flotilla has been docked in Tunisia. This is on the North African coast because they can't just break the blockade to get to Gaza. Now, I am not an expert on international alliances and relations, but my understanding is Tunisia is not a country that is going to lie on behalf of Israel.
Yeah.
Tunisia does not recognize Israel. They don't have diplomatic relations. They don't even talk. So the idea that like Tunisia is covering for Israel to make sure that they can attack Greta at will, I think Tunisia, my understanding is Tunisia would love to blame Israel for anything. I'm surprised they're not perpetuating this particular lie. But even Tunisia is like, listen, we don't like Israel, but please, Greta, shut the hell up. Which makes me wonder, why are they giving her safe harbor in the literal sense? Why don't they just get the hell out of this country? I don't know why they allow her to be there.
No, I don't want anyone allows her into their country. I don't get why Sweden allows her into their country. Like, I don't know, man. I just don't get why she became a leader. It's like, all right, a girl who can't finish high school, let's go with her. I mean, I think
it's because of her degenerate
parents.
It's because of her insane parents. That's why.
I remember her mother wrote a book and claimed that Greta can see carbon emissions in the air. Like they're delusional people.
Anyway, the reason you know that this is all fake too, because of course, like, okay, humanitarian aid is a noble goal. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not even necessarily ripping her for that. There are ways to get humanitarian aid into Gaza. You can do that. That is a thing that charities do all the time and continue to. You just can't show up whenever you want in a random boat and say, let me in, please, which is what Greta continues to do. Last time she did this, she was deported. So I assume if she gets too close to Gaza, they're going to do the same thing. But that's probably the nature of the whole stunt is like, oh, I got close last time and they just like sent me home packing. Yeah. This time I'm going to make it seem like they actually attacked me since they're not inclined to attack me, apparently.
Well, I remember when Israel deported her by flight, the narrative was that it was cruel because they know Greta is against air travel because of carbon emissions. So
they didn't let her boat
it was
home?
an act of cruelty to send her by flight home. Yeah.
They made her contribute carbon emissions.
Terrible.
That is, wow. That's got to be an international law violation of some kind. All right. Any other Greta comments before we close it out with some super chat?
No.
All right. Well, let's hop back into the chat. Thank you guys this evening, and thank you for your patience. Appreciate your support for the show, and waiting around for me to talk about nonsense stories before we get to them. let's see. We talked, yes, we got through all of these on YouTube and Tippy. I need to refresh them. Left off after AP. Let me see. Hold on. All right. Voss Boss. More white males pew-pew schools than trans people. Literally, most trans pew-pews are white males. We aren't even pretending sex and gender anymore. And I find that claim to be... the thing about... I find that claim to be suspect just because it's statistically definitely not conclusive. What I mean by that is like trans people, even in the era where they've exploded, are still very rare. So sample size wise, it's just hard to get credible statistics on trans shooters relative to the rest of the population because the rest of the population is so large and the trans population is so small. But I will tell you that there's to the extent there's manipulation and nonsense in every piece of the trans agenda, there almost certainly is here. And the reason I know that is because the Human Rights Report, the Human Rights Campaign report that comes out every year to push the narrative of a trans genocide, even if you take all of their cases of supposed anti-trans murder as anti-trans, they're not. Many of them are justified killings, or even if they are unjustified killings, they have reasons and motivations behind them that are not anti-trans hate, like you presented yourself as a woman and you provided fraudulent services. So even if you take all their word for it on that and you compare the trans murder rate, as in how many trans people per capita are murdered, it's lower than the general population. The school shooting stuff, again, the sample size is so low that it's like, I kind of just have to go by feel. I know that's not satisfying from a methods perspective, but like there's a lot of trans shooters lately for not that many trans people.
And I know you were talking, you've covered this too, like when it comes to transgender victims of abuse, they try, they want to claim that like being a black trans woman is like, being a Jew in Nazi Germany, but basically as long as you're not a prostitute, your risk of dying as a transsexual is close to zero. Like it was lower than the rate for white men. And I think you had pointed out that the majority of trans murderers are in Puerto Rico, which happens to have a murder rate.
Hate the trannies.
They're not big fans there. So that, it's that. And there's always a way to twist the numbers. Like the Government Accountability Office had done this very famous study claiming that right-wing murders are far more common than Islamic terrorism, and they are counting like neo-Nazi prison gang violence as
course.
That's like, I'm not too worried about the Aryan Brotherhood because
it's just like Chicago gang like random sprays of a Glock in Chicago that happen to be within the vicinity of a school. Count as a school shooting.
They count airsoft school shootings like out in the courtyard as school shootings in those every town reports.
Yes, the worst one I remember was accidental discharge at a police academy counted as a school shooting.
Oh Christ.
Thank you, Voss Boss. Bill McPherson, who was, of course, on the show before the break. Regardless of the horror of this moment for the cutoff, but I assume for the Kirks and everybody else, martyrs are rallying the masses, according to the ancient church traditions, or martyrs have a effect of rallying the masses, I suppose, according to the ancient church traditions. He suffered the baptism of blood and is in glory with God. Charlie is more powerful now than ever. Yeah, and this is, I love all the like atheist dunks stuff too, or like I've been thinking about that stuff a lot lately because I, like many, am seeking God in this moment for moral clarity and for proper understanding of the world. And there's this supposed own, I think, not to call people out, but I think I saw Thunderfoot, the old YouTuber,
so cringe,
tweeting about this.
It hasn't been relevant since like 2008.
Somehow the tweet came across me. And he said something like, why are you sad that Charlie's dead if according to your unbelief, he is with Jesus now. He is with God now. He has joined the kingdom. Why would you be sad? Shouldn't you be glad? I see I have owned you. Foolish backward Christian.
Hey, suppose you're not going to see your best friend for a year, but you're going to see him in a year. Why are you upset?
And it's because of the violation of what is a God-given purpose for every single person here on this earth. And yes, that purpose ends in death for everybody, but the point is God is entitled to determine the terms of that purpose and that death, not you, random guy who's seeking the power of God yourself. So yes, Charlie, it can be true that Charlie is in a better place, and also it's bad that it happened. Those are not mutually exclusive, but I know your gigantic science man brain would insist to me that it is. I shouldn't call him out. I just saw the tweet. Thunderfoot, he's probably a very nice man.
I don't know. It's just...
Or maybe not. Maybe he's a dick. I don't know.
Online atheism, it just comes across as like Sunday school level questions asked like a smart ass. Do you know who A.A. Lewis is?
Is he related to CS?
I can't. I don't. If you don't know, I don't have time to explain. It's like an iconic old timer post from Our Atheism. It's like one of the most widely mocked atheist posts to ever exist. I'll send it to you after the show. All right. You'll laugh and cringe a lot. Yeah.
Bill also says, "Excuse my dyslexic typing in the prior chat." That's all right. I know how to interpret them. Charlie will inspire more now as the normies wake up to the leftist totalitarianism. I hope our leaders start taking this threat more seriously than as is needed. Well, there are certainly so many on social media and I think in Democrat politics who just, you could hold their eyes open to look at the truth and they'll never accept it. But I think Bill is right. It's very hard to think like, how could people just now be waking up to this? There are. And I've actually seen commentary from them. People in my personal life, or even the degree to which you're seeing like normally not political celebrities or public figures talk about this, even if they're not going into the depths of the politics, just saying like, I would like a country where we don't get killed in cold blood, actually.
A nice thing to have.
Yeah, I think there will be something of a meaningful cultural shift out of this for the better, but that doesn't mean that those who are completely captured by the demons will be released. I don't think they will. They're especially dangerous. I mean, you saw this. There was that tweet from Matt Walsh like 2 weeks ago, maybe a little longer. I can't remember, but he said like, understand that as this trans derangement and the rest of this left-wing lunacy becomes more thoroughly defeated, the more they're cornered, the more dangerous they are, the more desperate they are, and they're actually at their most dangerous at times like right now. So be very vigilant. That's the thing. Like, do I have faith that the truth will win and this lunacy, this evil will be defeated? I do long term. But that doesn't mean that these people aren't incredibly dangerous in the short term, because they've intentionally made themselves enemies of the truth. And when you make yourself an enemy of the truth, you don't last very long. You're fighting the unfightable, and they've made that their mission. So, thank you, Bill. Hope you and your family are well. VV, you take 1 month off only to come back to a hell of a political and cultural climate, Matt. You've been missed, brother. Well, thank you. I appreciate you very much.
We love you. You're very special.
And, I'm glad to, as I talked about on Sunday and Wednesday, I love doing this. It's nice to step away from it for a minute, but I feel so fortunate, so blessed to be able to do this on a regular basis, on a full-time basis. And so I thank all of you for that, for making it possible. But man, and of course, I'm not David Hogg. It's not about me. I have something very fortunate happening to me very soon, which is the birth of my third son. So I have nothing to complain about. But it is funny. I don't even, how can I even say this tastefully when I look at things like Erika Kirk just did? Like, it's difficult enough to go live and just talk to the internet in any ordinary sense, especially if you're not used to that. But to do it in the circumstances in which she did it is just incredible. So all the credit to her for someone who is of immense bravery, courage, talent, all of those things. Me, I had this like hope that I would come back to just like ease into this. And of course that's not the case, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if I'm like, oh, dang, I would have preferred more pleasant news. That's why I'm here. It's to talk about whether the news is pleasant or horrific, and it happened to be horrific. So all the sympathy and blessings go to those who are directly connected to that sort of thing. Anyway, rate 1 to 10, foot in mouth on that one? No?
No, you did great.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, guy I compensate.
I'll be your yes man.
Very good job.
Well put, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Careful, white supremacy is used in place of and/or synonymously with anti-Semitism. The former is coded right, while the latter is more left-coded lately. Yeah, again, I recognize that. That's why when people say that, white supremacist, Nazi, I'm not saying those things don't exist or couldn't be plausible motives for a crime. I just know they've been bastardized and distorted so much that when you say that, I just need to see what you're talking about, because Nazi and white supremacist can mean anything from actually Adolf Hitler saying, please someone fire up the trains, to like Charlie Kirk saying, I disagree with you, but God bless you. Well, it could be anything in between.
There was some liberal who was reacting to Charlie's death, and he's like, wait, there are people to the right of Charlie Kirk? Like, yeah, it's like almost all of us.
Wow.
The
almost
realization
all of us, in
for him.
fact. Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. VV, I hate juice, but I hate the graters more. This is Tunisia saying, hey, listen, I got Israeli beef.
What's the graters reference?
It just must be Greta.
Very clever. Yeah. I got the other,
Thank you, VV.
Anyway.
Purpose of the Age is nothing against your other guests. The Matt and Matt show is the best version of this duct tape production since Beauty and the Beta. Well,
beautiful.
Don't inflate his ego too much. Keep it up, Matt. Matt, fix your lighting. Your ultra white skin is hurting Matt's rating. Oh, so he thinks you're too.
I am.
Yeah.
Someone said Palumbo's the most Aryan-looking Italian I've ever seen.
Well, it is quite an accomplishment that I'm the less pale member of this stream. Apparently,
the amount of grass I've touched is near zero.
A few blades here and there, but not much more.
I went to a tanning booth once and got sunburned. It's that bad. Yeah, that can't be helped.
Joe, I think we need to treat these people like the girl in The Exorcist. They are evil, but they need loving compassion and a firm demand to change or for demon removal.
Bingo.
Yeah, it's not... it's like they rip Charlie for supposedly dismissing or qualifying empathy. Empathy, sympathy, positive feelings toward a person. We want to be nice, I suppose, but the point is, if you do that without moral clarity, you actually enable immorality or evil. If I look at blatant immorality like murder, I think, well, that murderer probably had his reasons. No, that's not compassionate. That's not just. That guy's a cold-blooded killer, and he should be held accountable. And so what you're talking about, Joe, I think is exactly right, that you want to have the grace for those people who appear to be seeking moral truth and understand that they are subservient to it. They are secondary to it. But for people who think that they set the rules, they can change them on demand, they can kill people they don't like, empathy or understanding for that is not only wrong, it's destructive, obviously. It's going to enable all sorts of horrific immorality and crime. So you're right. Like, the compassionate thing is to expect a change in the bad behavior. Doesn't mean you meet their cold-blooded killing with cold-blooded killing, or you commit any of the other acts of immorality, but it's fair to expect better and demand better. I think you're exactly right. And, that's how you become a professional. Speaking of jobs, the people who are getting all these people fired, what do they do? How are they so good at this?
Dude, it has to be the theory of they were on the edge and there was just no cause to get rid of them.
But even still, this is happening in such a volume that the people doing it have to be putting a lot of time to it.
There was one woman who said she was making like 400 calls a day, which is a job in and of itself. We could actually pay people full time to do this.
Has anyone outsourced it to India yet? That's the question.
They'll tank the whole thing.
Good day, I am calling about so-and-so who posted that they hate Charlie Kirk and glad that he's dead.
Well, someone came up with a strategy where you have a bunch of people email a company like complaining, and then you have someone pretend to be a journalist requesting for comment and be like, does this align with your values? So it seems like there's going to be a pylon. I haven't done it myself, but I think it's a good idea. Yeah.
Great White says, you are gay, LeMayo.
You are gay, LMAO.
Yeah. I don't know. I actually, speaking of moral complexity, if people have thoughts like the context is horrible. Am I allowed to strip this soundbite from its context for its obviously hilarious purposes, or is it wrong to do it?
I would say you should, because I don't know. There has to be. I don't know. I don't want to sound like I'm trying to be funny about this, but I don't know. It's the worst thing that happened in recent memory to our movement. But if there's 2 seconds of something funny that came out of it, I would say salvage it. But I don't know. It is, to be honest, I'm not entirely sure. I guess I don't know.
Well,
I'm not gonna lie. I was like borderline depressed after the news. I was watching that and I burst out laughing in the middle of it.
I know that it's like
for
this
those
is
2 seconds. Like,
yeah, I'm laughing at like the commentary of the shooter, but it's just the way it was. It's because when you're in such a somber mood and something like that comes out of nowhere.
You are gay.
It was so unexpected. I was just like, all right, well that I laughed, and I guess I don't know. Gay now, so
I mean, he knew it was coming, the governor, obviously, but still, just do it without a smirk. Okay.
Yeah.
White Turkey 20 says mayonnaise monkey. Is that a racial term? Sounds like it. I don't know.
This guy.
Oh, that's you. Yeah, you're the mayonnaise monkey, of course. Joe, my comment about Exorcist Girl, the demon wanted to kill them. They had to tie her down and force her out, but with love. Yeah, I think, exactly what you were talking about.
Bingo.
I hope I kind of characterized it correctly, but I agree that like what would be viewed as like force upon a person or something can have moral justification and correctly so. I mean, anyway.
Yeah. Great point, sir.
Yeah, thank you. I'm Joe Bidening out at this one. I already talked about it, so I'll leave it there. Thank you, Joe. I think we're all set on YouTube and Tippy. Let me hop on over to Rumble. Dangerous Spaces friendly producer and call screener. I saw people telling the widow of a man murdered that she needs to bring down the temperature.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Yeah, if you need to demand that she does that, you are admitting that you are incapable of unwilling to do it yourself. Yeah, that's the thing is like, here's a great gesture to bring down the temperature. Just let the widow talk for like 15 minutes. And even if you don't like what she's, just, let her talk. Yeah. It's a great temperature lowering exercise. Purpose of the Age is claiming that they are pretending to be retarded is giving them way too much credit. I have a first-hand account. These people are not pretending. Don't give them that out. They are retarded and dangerous. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of retardation going on. Or as friend of the show, Michael Schlecht, said to me recently, I like the term he uses, which is retardology. This needs to be academic in its discipline and application. Yeah. It does need to be studied.
The comeback of the word retard is one of the greatest things that had happened in the past year.
I would never advise you on your book writing selection, but if you wanted to dabble in the field of retardology for your next work of written word, there you go. There's some social science.
On retards could be something scholarly.
Donnie, thank you, Purpose of the Ages. Motive unknown. Tyler was just as likely to fill his shoes with mashed potatoes that day. Sorry, Charlie. Yeah, who knows? I liked Geraldo was saying on Twitter earlier today.
I saw
Halo radicalized him.
We're back to the 90s on this one.
Yes, which even if I were to entertain the point that violent video games, violent movies have a desensitizing and morally questionable effect, which maybe, I mean, certainly they're not suitable for all ages and all that. It does not explain why you would choose Charlie Kirk as your target at a long range.
Yeah.
Well, that makes no sense.
Well, we didn't play it. The MSNBC guy who was like, listen, we don't know if there's a celebratory shot that just rung out.
I played it on Wednesday, yeah.
Or like a Middle Eastern wedding or something.
Yeah, some guy, he has like Yosemite Sam partying, shooting off rounds at his event. In fact, that guy who was cheering, did anybody see, did he have like a handgun?
Good point.
He might have shot some in the sky. K. Sorensen, 917. For all those who celebrated his death, sunlight is the best disinfectant. A daughter will have to grow up without a father to model what she should look for in a partner. She lost her protector. Now a son will have to grow up with a father to model masculinity, strength, and not brutality. Per Charlie, having a father figure is a silent way of forming a child to be a mature citizen. Yeah, and I get what you mean that like simple presence is the most important thing, but obviously it's not even silent. It's explicit spoken word and other tangible things between father and child that matter greatly. And of course, this family I think will be taken care of resources wise, but there's not there are no resources in the world in terms of housing, money, food, whatever the supplies are that a father and a provider is supposed to bring to his family. There's nothing to replace that person himself. And I can't, it's like I said when I posted about this yesterday, it's the weirdest feeling as a father of young children right now, because the time I spend with my boys is usually a comforting, centering thing. Like when the world's crazy, some stupid games with my boys is a way to tune out of all that noise. But it's when I know that someone in a similar situation was just stolen from his family in that way, and not only that happened, but like you got guys cheering or deploying military tactics of crowd
Either
control.
or, it's 50-50.
It's just it was the weirdest thing. It's like I could only imagine. I was just imagining what it would be like if I was erased from my family in that same way and what they would do, and it was just horrible. And that family, God bless them, that's all I can do is imagine it because it's so shocking.
Yeah, and we don't even know anything about Charlie's parents or they.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's a tragedy, but.
Compound Fracture, if you look at the jokes trans people post, these so-called jokes, it's almost always brutally murdering people they don't like.
Yeah.
Wouldn't surprise me if at all if this guy got egged on by bloodthirsty psychopaths. Could be. And that's the thing, like, one thing I find difficult to navigate here is like, yeah, this show and the various iterations of it has said all sorts of like distasteful things or jokes that could be interpreted as encouraging or justifying awful things. But like, how jokey is this really? That is to say, like, there are people who are making poor taste jokes about Charlie, and by that I mean like, well, guess he lost that debate, that sort of nonsense, where you think you're just like putting together a crafty zinger or something. It's so far beyond that, though. It's not just like I got a zinger to share. It's like just straight up stone-faced. I'm glad he was murdered.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. I can't, even my worst ideological enemy, like the actual communists, I'm not going to say that because I don't believe that. I don't think it's good when people are taken in cold blood.
Someone remarked, they're like, when a conservative says, I hate liberals, what they mean is that, like, if they saw a liberal fall over, they'd help them get up. When a liberal says, I love everyone, what they mean is they want to kill you and your entire family.
Yeah.
And it's so true, though.
Difficult translation, but I think it's accurate. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. Dangerous Spaces. Am I reading too much into this? Senator Chris Murphy said something dark might be coming. So this is the senator from Connecticut regarding policies and legal actions. That implies he doesn't think a murdered conservative is a dark moment. Just me. Well, that was a lot of the MSNBC reaction too. Do you worry that Trump will use this to do something? That's our concern. Like, what could be worse than cold-blooded murder in front of thousands of people?
Yeah, it's that Norm Macdonald joke where he's like, I think the iteration, but yeah, I think the problem was the murder.
Yes, I wish we could become more clear.
I did a horrible job of if you don't know the joke, no one knows what I just said. But anyway, next question.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Kay Sorensen says, I normally chat on YouTube. On Wednesday, I sent a super chat about being afraid that Charlie's assassination would scare conservatives away from college campuses. I'm glad that they're proving me wrong. Yeah, we talked a lot about that on Wednesday. Like, what is going to be the future of Turning Point? Will people dare to go speak on campuses anymore? I mean, it sounds like the intent is there. Now, I would guess that the format is going to change. By that, I mean, like, are we really going to see outdoor events like that?
I don't know.
That I kind of doubt. I think you're going to see increased security measures. But the problem is indoor events also have their own security concerns. Like, you have limited entries and exits, so people get freaked out and stampede and there are injuries. And there's no perfect answer here. But even if you do outdoor, like, there's got to be some kind of protection, some kind of glass, something. I don't think it's just going to be this, like, go hang out in an amphitheater type thing like that.
Yeah. I just realized I confused two Norm Macdonald jokes. The ISIS bomb one and then the Cosby one. Anyway, next question.
All right.
I'm still in that headspace.
Thank you for clarifying.
Anyway.
Ginger Ninja, after seeing the public reaction, I've come to the conclusion the only way this country doesn't continue to devolve into violent chaos is if the left and their talking heads course correct. He adds, if they continue to praise the killing of the best of us, the dam will break. Our long suffering will cease once it's obvious that debate and elections are the battle. It's on them. Well, they would be not just morally correct, but wise to choose debate, because that is a much more pleasant ending for everybody. If you insist violence upon people as a method of conflict resolution, you're going to have a bad time, but especially if you're not proficient in violence. And speaking of not being proficient in violence, some of the it's a good time to get proficient, I guess. Some of the other memes of ownership dunking that I saw, some were like, oh man, MAGA's so mad because they expected this but they got that, and it's like a picture of a black guy and it turned out to be Tyler, and it's like, nobody, literally, show me one person who predicted that this was a black guy, or they thought it was going to be a tranny, and it's like, well,
if it was a black guy, there would have been 50 shots, and one guy would have got like hit like right here.
The Glock would have been held sideways, and 10 uninvolved
exactly.
people.
Yeah,
and the marksmanship disproved that theory, but the
Correct.
marksmanship also disproved, in retrospect, the trans theory.
That's true.
Like the trans shooter. And I know this is not like the most amazing marksmanship ever. The belief is that the round actually hit. Supposedly he was wearing armor. The round hit armor, bounced up into his neck, is what I've heard.
Really?
That's what people say, but I don't know if that's a investigation conclusion or just people have examined the video. But the belief, and I think it's probably correct, is the guy was aiming for a headshot, like the spectacle of a headshot, and he didn't adjust properly. His optic wasn't properly calibrated, whatever. And it was low.
Yeah.
But
do you know what Saylor's law is from Steve Saylor? It's like this. He did an analysis, and basically you can tell if a mass shooter is black or white before it's even announced just by comparing the ratio of shots fired to fatalities. And generally speaking, the higher the ratio of shots fired to actual fatalities, the more likely they are to be black. If it's like
this is mathematically true. It's not even Ann Coulter's law. Just like generally, if X, then Y. This is like a formula.
If it's 10 shots, 8 dead, white. 50 shots, 1 injured, black. And I'm not. And it's
probably is
incredibly accurate.
It probably is. That makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. Dangerous Spaces. Charlie Kirk was a moron because he never went to college. Also, Greta Thunberg is brilliant. But what does it matter if she didn't finish high school? Oh my God, the contradiction. My head hurts. Well, anyway. Greta has found she has new appreciators online because of her swimwear. That was a thing in recent weeks.
No, thank you.
Yeah, I'll pass on that. Kay Sorensen, per Robert Barnes tonight, 80% of trans people will be involved in domestic violence, 10% for the general public, 25% for lesbians, and they are 8 times more likely to be committed or to commit violent crimes than the public. I would believe that. I don't know his source, but again, when you defy reality and truth, you have the unfightable to fight, and so you start fighting things. And that's how it goes. Thank you, K-Source. And Ginger Ninja, I think the sound clip is funny, and the ATF are the ones who recovered the round. They are gay, so...
You are gay, LMAO.
I mean, they did read it first, right? That's true. Dangerous Spaces. Oh my God, I always assumed that the Numa Numa meme guy from years ago was just waving his arms to dance along to a song. I'm now realizing maybe he was signaling some sort of enforcement or security. Remember that guy? The Numa Numa guy? Or are you too young for that?
Oh, that was from like the Newgrounds era of the internet.
Yeah, really early.
Yeah, it was ancient. Yeah.
But I remember the video. Maybe he was. Maybe he was in distress. Ginger Ninja. Charlie had soft body armor. Okay, not rifle rated. And wouldn't redirect a rifle up. So maybe that's fake news.
To me, it looked like it hit him right in the neck, but I don't really know
what
I'm
the
talking
longer
about.
shot looked like it hit him in the chest to me, like the longer video angle. But of course, I mean, who knows? It's just hard to tell. But he was only wearing a shirt that day, no body armor. Okay, so it was no body armor at all is now what I'm hearing. So I'm going to have to look into this and determine what's correct.
You are fake news. Very fake news.
Good on Rumble. Over on Odyssey, Blanket says, Matt, is it too soon to say which is crazier, 2024 or 2025? It's too soon to make my brain do a credible audit of all the events right now. Obviously, 2024, you had the election, you had the attempted assassination of Trump, you had, the replacement of Joe Biden and Kamala running. 2025 has had, obviously, this assassination. You've had the Epstein stuff. What else? What else is on the 2025 insanity list?
It's too much to process. The problem with when you do politics for a living is every week is like a year's worth of information. And I don't know. It's hard for me even to think back a month at a time without actually sitting down. And
I mean, right now I'm going to go. It's probably recency bias, but I'm going to go 2025 just because the assassination attempt was successful. I know that. I mean, the prior one was on arguably a more high-profile figure. I mean, Trump is more high-profile, but Charlie Kirk is not drastically far behind him in terms of conservative influence. Many people thought he was going to be president one day.
Yeah. Or
And
at
I
least
don't-
something in government. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
So 2025 it is, and lucky us, there's still time. I know I have some more over on YouTube here, so let me load those up, and then we'll call it a night.
Cool.
VV Osmongold, am I pronouncing that right? I know the famous YouTuber.
Yeah,
I just
he's
don't know
a
how to say
streamer, right?
His name, yeah.
Yeah.
Reported a bunch of folks in gaming companies who laughed about Kirk's passing. Okay, so the audit continues. Thank you, VV. Joe, thanks for the $10. You are my favorite. Joe, thank you for the $10. You are my favorite subscriber.
We love you. You're very special.
And I love you. That's true. I do have to read it. Those are the rules. Thank you, Joe. Electric Ninja, when I'm old and gray and my grandchildren have to walk on eggshells because they may trigger my flashbacks, all will know that I am just crazy from the gay war. Yeah, yes, too. You may not want the gay war, but the gay war is coming for you. And, I hope that wherever I always reference, am I going to forget his name? I can see his face. Senator from Pennsylvania, ran for president, Rick Santorum.
Oh, Santorum.
I always reference Rick Santorum because circa 2010, I'm watching, Real Time with Bill Maher and other left-wing shows, and I'm listening to Rick Santorum tell me about how if you open the floodgates of gay marriage, the world is going to become insane.
We
Like,
really
this
owe
guy-
those people an apology, man. I
Oh,
thought they were
I-
kind of kooky too, but
Yeah.
they were totally right.
I
It
have
was
to
the
Rick
first-
Santorum on X, and he responded to me, so I know he's seen it. But
It
yeah,
was
that's
the first domino.
Yeah, well,
Like,
but
yeah.
and people, a lot in the chat have explained it to me too. You might not think that these things are a consequence, but fundamentally, way back then, the gay marriage debate, the gay marriage concept was about the idea that men and women can be interchanged in that way. Like a husband is the same thing as a wife. Of course, it's not. And there are very important distinctions that separate them. But once you start acting like these things are interchangeable, there's a lot of confusion that can happen. And there is a domino effect from there.
We were given this picture that all they wanted was equality in marriage, and the whole gay rights movement was about that. And there was this impression that once they're given that, well, then it fizzles out. They accomplished the goal, game over. But all
that's the
left
problem.
That's the thing. All left-wing activism is deliberately open-ended, so it never
It's
ends.
industrial.
Yeah,
and I get it. People are out there like, hey, I'm gay married, and I don't insist it upon you. And it's like, I know. Yeah, I know there are plenty of those people.
Yeah.
But what I'm
also,
talking about is
yeah.
there's a certain bending of the truth there that has caused consequences down the line. And to your point, like, how did it become this insane? You're exactly right. I was listening to in the car, I had the radio on, and it was Clay and Bach, and they were talking about this at some point this week, transgender stuff. But they were just talking about how it's industrial in the way you're describing. Like, once gay marriage was established as a constitutional right by the Supreme Court, the whole gay equality industry, the activist industry, was like, cool, we got that, but like, we're not going to fold our businesses, so they need a thing. And transgender stuff became the thing, and beyond the social contagion, it's like there's an industrial force behind it now.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like, every corporation embraced it, and then there were groups like, I think it was a human rights campaign that came up with some like corporate LGBT index, and if your company wanted to be rated favorably, you had to do all these crazy things and forced representation, and it became all encompassing. But it seems like finally it's being unwound, and I don't know, like, is it better or worse? Like, does it prove that the corporations never actually believed it in this entire time, but forced it on everyone? Like, I don't know if that's better or worse.
Anyway, the point is, Rick Santorum was right. When we opened that door, it necessarily created the gay war.
Bingo.
And if I die in the gay war, he can say,
Uranus.
I told you so.
Yeah.
John Jackson, my two children are the same age as Charlie and Erika's. It made this all that much more of a gut punch. Yeah, man, mine aren't exactly the same age. I got a new or freshly 4-year-old and another boy who's going to turn 2 in December, and then a newborn imminently. So right around that same age. But yeah, like I can't enjoy my situation without seeing the situation that was just taken. It's hard.
Yeah.
But I know that if Charlie was here, obviously he would tell me, like, you owe those boys full attention and full enjoyment, nothing less. And so obviously that's my responsibility to do that. Bright Eye Security, I just hope America can heal before balkanization. Well,
Yeah.
We're going to have to agree on the highly controversial premise that it's wrong to kill people in cold blood in a public spectacle. If we can agree on that, maybe.
I think I kind of want some balkanization. I'm not going to lie. It's one of those things that it's fun in theory to say, I want this part of the country, you get that. Obviously, in practice, it's not something you actually want.
Yeah,
I want balkanization like through magic, where it's just instant. We get this, you get that.
Yeah, if you can't agree that murder is wrong, then
get out from America.
Let's balkanize, bro.
Yeah,
I'm all about it.
Yeah.
Ryan Allen, they called us Nazis to dehumanize us just enough, and it's okay, just enough that it's okay to try to kill us. Yeah, and I don't think it's uncharitable to interpret that all those years of smearing for that to be the end goal. Like it wasn't just name calling; it was the building of a foundation on which to justify removing you. Not just removing you from clubs, removing you from employment, removing you from whatever social circles you may belong to, removing you from this earth. Because these people don't even believe in the fundamental concept that human life has a right to be here and ought not to be meddled with or taken in that way.
Yeah.
Tough times. Thank you, Ryan. All right, I think we're all set. Let me give a quick refresh. We're good on Rumble, good on Odyssey. Got to make sure I scroll down on Odyssey. You know, sometimes you miss those. Very difficult. Okay, that is all of it. Anything else you want to say before we're out of here?
Thanks for watching. No, I got nothing.
Very well put. Thank you for that. I always like to put a nice bow on the show in that way. Highly regarded.
Thanks.
All right. Well, thanks as always for tuning in tonight. It's just been a hell of a week, of course, but I hope processing this together on Wednesday and Sunday has been helpful. I know it's been helpful for me, so thank you for that. Thanks to the live chatters, super chatters who support the show, make it possible. Thanks for tuning into the live show to make it a success. If you're listening on demand later, thank you kindly as well for supporting the show. Hey, thanks to Matt Palumbo for sitting in tonight too. Find his highly regarded upcoming book, The Heir, all about Alex Soros. That is linked in the description for pre-order. It comes out what, December?
They moved it up to October 28th.
Oh, soon. All right, get those pre-orders in.
I'm actually recording the audiobook this week, so it'll be my voice. Yeah.
Thanks to producer Tim for his assistance as always. Anything show related, mattchristiansenmedia.com. Matt is .gay, if you prefer brevity.
You are gay, LMAO.
I'll be back on Wednesday, unless my baby is delivered tonight. Stand by for news on that. Have a great night and a great week.